little wait time animation.
You do that?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yep, and it's all actually stop animation as well.
Oh, yeah. Pictures of, like...
photos
yeah.
on sequence. Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
I got bored a couple weeks ago at school, and I wanted something for when I don't start exactly on time. So I figured, okay, this will let people know, and when I do like a coffee break or something, they're not just staring at the chair.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
A note on my door.
It's a TARDIS! It's a Lego TARDIS and Daleks and a Weeping Angel. Oh my gosh. It's fantastic. Do you have... Oh, you have Doctor Strange. That's awesome. Oh, you have Harley Quinn too. Sweet!
Nobody's gonna see that on that giant thing. I don't know why I have it on this side of the door still. It's not like I'm in. It's not a sophomore anymore in school. Yeah, those are just some of the vehicles and stuff. A lot of my other minifigures are over on my shelf.
That's awesome.
Or either taken apart in a bucket or one of my other mini containers, unfortunately, that I have to sort through, which has been a thing of mine for way too long. Alright.
Are you going to introduce me and I have to be quiet kind of thing and out of the picture or what?
Yeah, I'll have it on me and then I'll turn it over.
Well, then I'll scooch over closer to you, so...
Yep.
I promise I don't bite.
Alright. So... Alright. Things seem to be good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll go ahead, turn it over to moi, and let the stream catch up a little bit to test the sound quality, just to see how it is doing. So far so good. We shouldn't have any frame rate issues or any lag, just because the internet here, while it might not be quite as good as schools, it's constant at least. And that is very handy. How are we sounding? See how it is doing. Alright. Also good. Alright, sound quality is good. Nice and loud, pretty decent. Okay. Alright, well, we will just wait just a couple more seconds here, just to make sure everything's good and give people a minute or two to hop in, since how we are right at noon. Wonderful. This is the moment where Chris usually realizes, what am I missing, because it's been a while since I've done this. Need him. Need this. That's helpful. Definitely need that. And I guess I'm gonna forget. Turn off all sound on my phone and turn it on silent. So, tradition stands. At some point, somebody's gonna probably text me. Oh, it's Thursday. Nobody usually texts me on a Thursday. Because most people are working, except Brooke. She usually takes Thursdays off for things like chiropractors and everything.
Oh, yeah. I broke her.
What?
I hit her with a pillow and I threw her neck out of place.
Oh.
I felt so bad.
I wouldn't be surprised though. She is pretty fragile.
She is. And, I looked at Nani and I was like, I'm so sorry. I thought she was going to be mad at me because I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, she's just fragile.
Yep. She just shrugs it off.
And she didn't tell me until today. I ran into her at Fairway getting food.
It's always the interesting thing is usually I'm always wearing my headphones whenever I'm recording. But I can't do that when I have people over and everything. We just use the
computer mic
because it's a lot easier and everything.
It's
so strange because my hair looks slightly different.
You know what? You should either go on like eBay or go on Wish and get like just a plain old USB microphone that you can just set up to the side for better audio. And like I said, just plugs in right away.
At some point, I want to, only because also as well, like at some point getting a better webcam or one that I can set up here.
Oh yeah.
Though I did fix my problem the other day with recording, which I'll actually mention in the podcast today. So yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, ladies and drums. We ready? I think we're ready. Alright, so we'll begin in 3, 2, 1. Heyo everyone, and welcome back to the Chitty-Chat cast. I am your host, Lego MacGyver, otherwise known as Chris Ringelberg, and today we have a very special guest with us. We have the one, the only, Daina Jo.
Hello, ladies and gents.
Yes, we have a very special guest today. First off, probably one of the most apparent things is the background. Yes, I'm not at school anymore, which is probably apparent to any of you college kids that unless you're doing summer school, which nobody wants to do, I'm back home, so that's why the different decor and everything, and why I also have a guest is it's just a lot easier having a guest here in Orange City than down in Vermilion, which is hard to think that going to South Dakota here in Iowa, to get to Vermilion you actually go down instead of up. Because most of South Dakota, except for that little tail bit at the end there, is north or directly west. But no, Vermilion is south, but just north of Sioux City for any of you who understand that.
I was working last night and the National Weather Service came up and it took over the station, and I'm like freaking out because I had never done anything with the National Weather Service before, and I was like, what's going on? And there was a storm that was going through Vermilion last night.
Yes.
So.
Yes, storms of Vermilion, very interesting. For any of you who follow my Instagram, I like to post lots of weather updates from Vermilion, so yes. So yeah, we have my very special guest, Daina, here today, so before I forget, because I know I did it 1 or 2 streams ago, we do have a quote for this week to open up the podcast coming from our great friend, Captain Jack Sparrow.
Can't forget the captain.
Can't forget the captain. Yep. And so this week's quote is, "The problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude about the problem." Do you understand?
No, I don't understand.
Coming from, I believe, the first movie, Curse of the Black Pearl, from my very large collection of quotes that I keep on my computer. But anyways, we are going to be continuing on with our almost sort of traditional opening to our podcast, going through years of movies that I've been alive, plus going back, in which case this year we are in 1993, in which case we're getting further and further up to the year of my birth, 1996. But it's probably going to be a little while, and depending on how things go this summer, might actually be when I'm back at school, unfortunately. But hopefully not. Hopefully I can get my schedule working out a lot better. So, starting off, going off with some of the big ones this year. This was the year that the Jurassic Park original trilogy came out, and sort of really showing off Spielberg of what he really sees as action before he goes into other things later on in the early 2000s. But it's also one of those to where, with Spielberg, he also did Jaws back when that came out about a decade or 2 before. So it's interesting looking at that and the whole idea of Jaws, the actual animatronic shark they had for the movie, and how little you see it because of how fake it looked. And it's interesting when you now look over at Jurassic Park so many years later and seeing all the dinosaurs that, it's Jurassic Park, you want to see the dinosaurs, but it still has that slight horror thriller element to it, to where the dinosaurs, depending on which ones, sort of look fake, sort of don't. It's that cross between prop and CGI that sort of makes it revolutionary, but also sort of makes it different from what he's originally done before. Mm-hmm. And of course, we also get Jeff Goldblum, probably one of the more iconic actors from the movie, of course, being like the movie star Scientology person who's always having the quotes of life finds a way and everything, and his really hilarious laugh, which is very chalky. But But then, of course, there's the beautiful score by John Williams again, still blowing through soundtracks of the early 80s and 90s.
Oh my goodness. Okay, with the whole Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies and everything, my boyfriend, like when he's writing his book, that's all he listens to is the soundtrack from that movie. And other just like scores from other movies too. And it's just like, I have to have words with songs. I'm sorry. I can't just sit and listen to like classical music or like just background music. I can't do that. I have to have words.
So, yeah, Jurassic Park starting what would be a trilogy actually based off of novels, what some people might know, by the author Michael Crichton. That is the correct name of Michael Crichton. It's one of those. It's not Crichton or something like that with that weird CHTON ending to his name. In which he also wrote the sequel, The Lost World, which we actually wouldn't see until the third movie. But he spawned a couple of sequels, which weren't bad, but just not as good as the first one, in my opinion. Otherwise, in 1993, we came out with probably one of those iconic, more children's movies this year that pretty much I think everybody has seen. Spawned a whole bunch of sequels that were never as good as the first one. And it's such a great, quotable movie, and that is The Sandlot.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you can't go through the movie, and when it comes up to the point where they're talking about the giant dog, you can't just stop and go, forever.
Yes. My sister and I, we had the VHS tape. We had the VHS tape. And it was great because that was like my sister's go-to movie whenever we'd go down in the basement. And this is before we had our whole basement redone. And we would sit in front of the TV, and, you know, I'm going through the Disney movies, like, oh, let's watch Cinderella, or maybe we'll watch Snow White. No, it was all The Sandlot. All The Sandlot, all the time. Which is fine, because it never gets old. It's such a good movie.
It never gets old. It's such a great movie. And a lot of those child stars you really don't see much anymore. I'm not familiar with many of the young actors, but it's one of those that you didn't really need an all-star cast because it was kids, and the humor and hilarity that ensued from it was what made the movie and not the actors. I think that's a bit of the problem today with a lot of the sequels, is they try to bring in story or actual athletes into it, sort of like some Space Jam sort of thing, and that sort of takes away from it. So you don't get dialogues like the whole s'more scene, which is iconic of, hey Smalls, you want some s'more? S'more of what? I haven't had anything. And the iconic quote of, you're killing me, Smalls!
Right. We went to Hot Topic a while ago, and they had the T-shirt with I can't even think of his name or the actor's name or whatever, but the guy who says the line "You're killing me, Smalls." It just, I don't know, it just brings back good memories of when my sister and I were little, you know. So.
It's one of those quotes that I think even people who haven't seen the movie know it's from The Sandlot, because it's just one of those. It's almost like a timeless quote there, that it can just apply to almost any situation, to anyone at any age. And, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Speaking of people not seeing movies, my boyfriend's never seen The Goonies.
Never seen The Goonies?
Never. And you know what? We were playing...
I think I might need to unfriend him now, now that I just got him on Facebook.
No, you know what? We were playing Seen It, the board game, and there was... I don't remember what the question was, but it was about The Goonies, and I was about to say The Goonies, and he beat me to it, and he won the game. Oh. And it was just, and I was like, you haven't even seen the movie!
He's a Lord of the Rings fan, isn't he?
I think so. We don't really talk about that much.
The main kid in Goonies, Mikey, he's Samwise Gamgee.
I knew that.
He's Sean Astin, as well as other great ones. Matt Dillon plays his older brother, who, I know it might be Matt Dillon, I might be thinking of Josh Brolin. It's one of those Matts. It's one of those Matts with the double T's. I know that. As well as one of the the older brother of the criminal family. The reason why I always recognize him is he played the main villain in License to Kill, the James Bond movie.
Oh, whoa! You posted on Instagram something about James Bond. I forget.
Yep, I'll be talking about that.
Yeah, okay.
In a bit.
So yeah.
Yep. Otherwise, Disney movie this year, non-animated, and it's live action, but not really with many people. And it was one of my favorite movies having on VHS. That was Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey.
Oh my goodness.
Where you have the two dogs, one being, I believe, a golden retriever.
And the other one was kind of like I want to say pit bull mix.
It was like a pit
It
bull
was a
mix.
mixed
That's why I
dog,
have
but-
her. She knows dogs better than me.
No, it was a mixed breed, but I don't remember what specific ones there were. But I know what you're talking about.
Yep, and then Sasha, the cat.
Yes.
And everything. And I know that the one dog that we don't know the breed for was voiced by... Oh, crap. Ooh, don't quote me on this. It's either Michael J. Fox or Emilio Estevez. I want to say it's Michael J. Fox. Pretty sure it's him. For those of you who don't know Michael J. Fox, he is Marty McFly in Back to the Future.
Yes.
So that's that movie, and it's based off of a children's book from many decades before, but it's such a great movie hearing about an adventure from the animals that get lost and how they talk. And it's not quite how Disney is nowadays with like the Jungle Book that we'll talk about later on, to where the animals are talking and their lip mouths are moving to what they're saying. It's more their like thought speaking, almost like telepathy, or they're just barking or meowing and the voice actors are saying what they would be thinking.
And you also have to think about like all that timing and work that has to go into that too.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, and like the obedience the dogs and the cat have to film that movie.
Yep.
That was pretty incredible to watch.
It is. I mean, with Disney using live animals, which I don't want to say that they haven't been doing much with that up until now. There's a couple things like back in the early 60s with The Cat from Outer Space, which is hilarious. That we start to see a lot more and more. Like, I think once we get into the later part of this decade or even the early 2000s, Air Bud will start to be the big Disney thing that will come up. And now that I think about it, that dog looks very familiar now from the one in Homeward Bound. But yeah, Disney, with its track record of real-life animals, I think really starts off well from here on.
Mm-hmm.
Also going on, Robin Williams classic, one of the ones I had on VHS for the longest time. This was the one that I knew Robin Williams from before, even Aladdin, and that was Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh my goodness, that was the best movie. Actually, you know what? I just recently got a DVD/VHS tape player, and so I'm going to like Goodwill and all these other places to go find old VHSs that I used to have when I was growing up, and I found Mrs. Doubtfire on VHS, and it wasn't even open. Like the plastic was still around.
Still mint?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
man.
And so I have it. I don't even think I haven't opened it yet, but I loved that movie. It was such a good movie.
I know. About a year and a half ago, I saw it in the $5 movie bin at Walmart, and so I have it over on my shelf now with my ever-growing Robin Williams collection since his passing.
Yes. Oh, what was it? Carpe Diem? Is that what we watched in high school?
Dead Poet Society with Carpe Diem.
Oh, okay. I didn't think I was gonna be crying at the end of that movie.
I had seen it about a month or two before we saw it in school.
I had never heard about it until we watched it in school. Same with, well, I heard about Les Mis, but I had never seen it. I had never read the book or anything. You know?
But yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin Williams playing a comedian who's not really down on his luck, but really can't find a job at the moment, trying to be with his kids and his divorced wife, and goes about it in the way of dressing up as their nanny, with the whole things with prosthetic masks and makeup and everything and the mannerisms. And of course it's Robin Williams, so you believe him half the time.
Right.
As a woman. Also starring Pierce Brosnan, one of my favorite actors because he plays Bond in there. But yeah, really great movie, great soundtrack to it as well. Movie this year, I can't remember the director for it. He does all these sort of oddball Monty Python-esque movies. This is Robin Hood Men in Tights.
No, I haven't
sort
seen
of
that
the
yet.
Robin Hood it's sort of a Robin Hood parody mixed with a slight musical, to where it's not quite the Robin Hood you would think. It's not a serious one. It's very much a comedy.
Right.
To where it's definitely introducing stuff from the real world and sort of Monty Python-esque in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good, really hilarious. Probably not my favorite of all the Robin Hoods, just because for some reason, even though it's super slow and super long, that Kevin Costner Robin Hood from a few years previous, dyslexia moment, is just something about it that is just really, really good. Well, look at that.
I was just gonna
say. Look who we have in the chat. It is Shane. bigger Disney Pixar film fan, or Disney Pixar, or no, it has to be Disney Pixar.
Disney. All the way.
DreamWorks has a couple key movies that I like from them.
Shrek.
But Disney and Pixar definitely over the long run. We also have The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, I have that on my list too.
Yes, The Nightmare Before Christmas, which I have to be honest, I've not seen the entirety of.
Really?
In my 20 years, I've not seen it all the way through. I've probably seen a good 85% of it in bits and pieces, but I've never just sat through end.
What do you remember seeing last of the movie?
Seeing last, it's been a few years, but yeah, what I actually know more about it is, as you could probably tell by the many posters, and from me mentioning it before, I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. So I know Nightmare Before Christmas from my brother playing the second game. I don't believe they visit it in Birth by Sleep, but I know it by 358 Half Days, because it's in that video game for the DS. I remember playing through it, and so I know the general of Nightmare Before Christmas and everything that goes on. It's just some of these little intermediate parts that, like, when a commercial, I go and do something, I just don't come back.
Right.
To where, if you put all the pieces together, I might have seen all of it, but maybe it's a bit of the beginning and a bit of the end.
Sure. Do you have, like, it on DVD at all?
I do not know, but...
I should get that for your birthday then. I should.
It's a great one, and it's a really interesting concept of being stuck in a holiday or like a season and wanting to break out or steal another one.
Right.
And it's done in that wonderful Tim Burton fashion of borderline creepy but still like kid friendly.
Yeah.
To where it's not supposed to scare you, but it's like riding a fine line between kids when it came out. Like, you would have to be a certain age, otherwise your parents might think it's a little sketchy.
Same with Coraline, though, too.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen that movie, Coraline? It was borderline creepy. My sister, for her birthday, she had an outdoor movie thing. So my dad went to the nearest rental store, and he rented a movie screen. And he put it in the backyard, and my sister really wanted to watch Coraline. And she loves Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm.
Loves Tim Burton. So my dad played that, and it was October, so
Mm-hmm.
it was freezing outside. It was like almost snowing temperature. It was really cold. And like 90% of the people didn't want to go outside because it was too cold. But yeah, no, I love Tim Burton movies like The Nightmare Before Christmas and especially Coraline. I really like Coraline. Like you said, very borderline creepy, but it was really cool.
Tim Burton back before 2000 was really great with most of his movies, and now he's sort of died down with how much he's coming out with, and I think also in the content, only because, especially in the realm of Disney, it's sort of taken this very specific path where what it wants to do with princess movies and everything. And I think Disney's getting very much caught up in everything it's acquired. Like, it bought out Star Wars, and it acquired that. It bought out Marvel and acquired that. I feel like it's sort of taking away from some of these smaller movies that people really appreciate. Like, we really don't get, like, an Atlantis movie anymore. A super underrated movie that is brilliant and great.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite Tim Burton movie? Oof. I would have to look that up. I'm not overly familiar with his work as of
I'm going to have to agree with him. Sweeney Todd is mine.
I've heard it's a great one.
Have you seen it?
I've not, but I've heard many people recommend it to me. I've also had just as many people recommend me not to watch it because of the stuff in it. But at some point I will, just to see this sort of, not really like horror, but this like slight pseudo-horror musical thing going on.
Oh my goodness, though. Like, Johnny Depp in that movie, I did not think he could sing until I started watching that movie, and then, like, all the girls, you know, are fantasizing about Johnny Depp. It's Johnny Depp, right? Mm-hmm. And my heart immediately just grew, like, 8 times bigger for that man when he started singing, because he sounded so clean. Mm-hmm. And you always have to think, though, like, did he take lessons for that, or did he always have the ability to sing? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, like, same with, you know, like, Markiplier. He does singing lessons, and he did do some parodies of, like, Five Nights at Freddy's and stuff, and he took singing lessons for that. Yeah. You know? I don't know. I thought it was really cool.
Yep.
Plus, the movie itself is really good and creepy.
Coming out this year, as well. I won't talk much about it because it's been eons since I saw it. Last saw it when it was on VHS. I own it on DVD now in a triple pack. But Tom Cruise coming out in a John Grisham movie, The Firm. Super good, super serious, well done movie. Also starring Gene Hackman, of guy right out of college gets approached by this law firm and everything, and it's like they're giving him the whole lowdown. You're getting these benefits. We're going to give you this much money. You want to take your wife out to the Caymans? Take her out to the Caymans. We'll bring you up right and everything. Only to find out that once he's been conned into the firm, there's a lot of shady business.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the movies that really brought up the idea of funneling money through the Cayman Islands. It's one of those movies that's like, through the Cayman Islands, there's like no extraditionary orders or something for money. So people can put money in there, and people really won't bat an eye. Sort of like putting your money in a Swiss bank.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally. You put it in, it's safe, it's good, nobody's going to look too much at it. And it played off of that idea of, once he's into this firm, of destroying it and trying to get out without the firm knowing or getting himself killed.
Right.
Really, really good. Younger Tom Cruise there. This year we have The Three Musketeers starring Kiefer Sutherland, Oliver Platt, Charlie Sheen, and Chris O'Donnell as D'Artagnan.
Nice.
Yes, remembered all of them. And don't quote me, but I think maybe Michelle Pfeiffer as the lady, possibly in there. I know Mila Jovovich portrays the lady in this latest Three Musketeers from about half a dozen years ago. But really great movie. It's one of those, it's almost borderline, because it's the original one that came out. I would almost say it's almost better than this recent remake of it. But it has its ups, it has its downs. It's a bit slower in parts. But it's interesting. It's really good. Otherwise, we got Mr. Johnny Depp here in one of his breakout roles. I believe when you look at his credits, it's about number 3 on there for starting out. 1993, this is Benny and June.
I've never seen it.
This is a movie that was recommended by our library teacher when we were in middle school, Mrs. Aldertz, who I would later work with at the Orange City Public Library. She recommended the movie to the class when we were talking about different things with speech and whatnot, and it was
this when we were doing exploratories?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And it was one of Brooke's favorite ones as well. Not that I was with Brooke very much at the time, but it was one of those, it's like, oh, Johnny Depp. I knew he was in things like Pirates of the Caribbean at the time, so it's
right.
like, okay, yeah, it should be interesting. And it's one of those older movies to where he's not mute, but he hardly ever talks. And that's where his comedic genius comes from, I think, in this movie. Is everything he does, like with the painting and the flowers, and there's an end scene where he's on a scaffolding string on a hospital trying to get to June. And it's hilarious all the way through, and Johnny Depp barely ever says a word. And I think that's what captures it here, and what would help spring him off later for other comedies and everything, once we actually heard more of his voice. Free Willy came out this year, the classic one with the killer whale or orca whale of SeaWorld. Orca's injured and everything. They're trying to get it back out to sea, but certain people don't for some reason. Don't quote me, it's been forever. This year also, animated Batman movie. I was surprised it came up so high on IMDb when I was looking at it for an animated Batman movie, but it was Batman Mask of the Phantasm. And when I remembered it, and the story that it plays off of, it sort of got me thinking, okay, that's right, so good. I think Kevin O'Connor, I think maybe, is Batman in this one. Sort of before those Troy Baker days, when he would get in there, especially for the video games. But still, Mark Hamill portraying his role as the Joker for voice. Super good there. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time, I believe was the title, ending the trilogy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies at the time. Possibly one of my favorites, where they find this, it's not really a, it's like a cross between a scepter with a lantern on top. It's a super weird artifact that takes them back in time to, samurai-controlled Japan and everything, and they have to save some girl and everything from a whole bunch of shoguns and whatnot. It's really weird, but it's super good. And also playing off of this ninja samurai sort of difference that people really don't know, that there's a big body of water in between them. That samurai Japan, ninjas are Chinese. And sort of playing off of that. Otherwise, Searching for Bobby Fischer came out this year, which if you want to see Ben Kingsley with hair, which not many people have, watch this movie. Super good, about chess, if you like chess. If you don't, maybe not for you. And ending off with a sequel that was, I think, really hilarious, but not as good as the original, and really not known by many people, is Weekend at Bernie's 2. Reprising the same original cast from the first one, taking place like within hours or days after the first one in plot line, but yeah, just a little different. And it wasn't as good, it wasn't quite as hilarious, but it was still pretty funny. So that ends us for 1993, and we'll give it a rest there. Alright, but otherwise, this week, and as we know, coincidences always happen on this channel, especially during the podcast, is of course we have to celebrate a celebrity birthday, which is for tomorrow, and that is the one, the only guy we have talked about a whole lot today. That is Johnny Depp, celebrating his, I figured it out, 54th birthday tomorrow.
Golly, he does not look like he's 54.
He does not. He looks like
he's secretly
in
a Time Lord. He's secretly a Time Lord.
Probably.
Yeah.
He's up there with those certain actors who never age, like Morgan Freeman. He doesn't age anymore.
Yes.
Michael Caine doesn't age. Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah.
He looks the same way he did when he was in the 80s.
Yes.
So we're celebrating Johnny Depp today, and so we'll be going through sort of his movies that we've seen, as well as picking out our favorites. So starting back from the beginning, his first actual filmed sort of scene was in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, where he played, I think, one of the friends that gets attacked or something.
I really want to see that movie. I've never seen that movie or any remake of that movie. I want to see it. I've heard a lot of good things about it.
All of the sort of like slasher thrillers out there, I think Nightmare would be the one I'd be most interested in. Only because it's the most interesting premise of a killer who attacks you in your dreams. I think it's just a lot better than either a guy with a chainsaw or a guy with a machete and a leather face as Jason. I feel like Freddy Krueger, even regardless of what he looks like, just the idea of him like attacking you in your dreams and being almost unstoppable and scary that way is something that has a leg up on all the other slasher films that people like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think is shown as being better by not having quite as many sequels and remakes. Because Jason, I know, has at least 10, if not more than that, now with movies, and I'm sure they're going to remake him. I know there was a Nightmare on Elm Street, I think 2-3 years ago, but it may have been canned, if I remember correctly, and might still be coming out.
The only reason I kind of want to see it, though, or one of the reasons I would say, is because my house was in the middle of a street that connected with Elm Street.
Oh!
So, like, I didn't live necessarily on the corner of Elm Street, but I was really close to Elm Street.
Sure.
So, I don't know. If I wanted to watch, I like creepy things, though. I've saw movies 1 through 5. You know, like in one night. I'm good with creepy movies. I like creepy movies.
Sure.
So, I don't know. I just wanted to see it. It's on one of my to watch lists. So.
Yep. Going through, we got, also, this was actually really his first breakout role that got him recognized. That was Johnny Depp playing Tom Hansen in 21 Jump Street, the show that started in the late 80s into the beginning of the 90s, which then Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill decided to do a remake movie of, and I know I haven't seen it, but I know it's terrible. I'm just going to say that, partially because I don't like the actors. But, hey, otherwise, 1990, Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, I haven't seen that one either.
If I had to say right now, of Tim Burton movies, I might have to say that's my favorite.
Oh, yeah?
Not knowing what else Tim Burton has done of my memory, but it's so good. Also, Johnny Depp playing a silent protagonist, basically, of a guy whose father brought him up by literally making his hands a whole bunch of razor-sharp scissors in this creepy tower and just leaving him there, super pale, and being found by this small suburb and trying to bring him up there as an actual person of trying to deal with things. There's a hilarious scene with him in a waterbed, which, when you have hands full of knives and scissors, it's hilarious.
Oh,
but he's also like this expert, like, shrubbery guy of doing shrubbery art with animals and everything.
Oh, okay.
And everything because of his hands.
Sure.
It's super, super good, but it's one of those, like, it's not really a comedy, it's not really a drama, it's sort of just a movie you watch and experience just because of his character and following him through.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure most actors and actresses do this, but, like, you put yourself in your character's shoes, and especially when you were talking about how he was left in the tower. Think of that psychologically, though.
Yeah.
Like, you have no parents to raise you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he was malnutritioned.
Mm-hmm.
You know, didn't get enough food, and just the typical social interaction. You know, like there's none of that.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure Johnny Depp did some research on some psychological effects due to that, and you've been to psychology, right? Did you take psychology in high school? Yeah, we talked about a couple cases where kids were left in closets and in rooms, and and like there's like physical things about that too, you know. So it's interesting to think of all the work that goes behind that too. So.
Yep. Otherwise, we have it coming out in June 1993, followed by What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Not familiar with that, but
my parents recommended me watch that. I haven't watched it yet, but it seems like a really good movie.
If I remember correctly, I think there also might be a very young Leonardo DiCaprio in there for any of you DiCaprio fans.
I think so. I think I remember my mom telling me that too.
Ed Wood, one I hear mentioned a lot on the Syncast that I listen to, a very great podcast. It's supposed to be really good. Johnny Depp playing a young director who I believe is trying to pitch the fictional movie of The Graduate 2, which, from what I've heard, was actually something going around Hollywood to do a sequel of, which I'm glad they didn't. Nick of Time, one that might still be on Netflix. Very interesting one, coming in 1995, where Johnny Depp is basically... his daughter is held hostage by, like, the FBI, basically, to murder the senator's wife because the senator wants her dead. And he has to do everything in, like, 2 hours.
2 hours?
It's either 1 to 2 hours, and the movie literally takes place in real time.
Oh, wow.
Like, every second is the same second of that hour he has. To where it actually gets super suspenseful. The main cop getting him to do it is Christopher Walken, who is super good in this, super serious. It's very interesting playing with this concept of time in a movie and sticking with it.
Oh, shit.
Because Hollywood's famous for saying a time and not keeping with it. Main example being the classic GoldenEye scene in the beginning of the movie, to where sets 3 minutes, sets the 6 minutes on the time, which is actually 3 minutes, and it goes off actually like 5 minutes and 19 seconds later. I timed it once just to actually see if it was 3 minutes, and it wasn't. And that's like one of the main examples people like to use. But it's really interesting and sort of underrated. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, I hear, is a popular one, though is quite a bit of a drug trip also as well. Let's see, Sleepy Hollow with him portraying Ichabod Crane, I believe maybe also a Tim Burton movie. Him coming out in 2003 with him playing Captain Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, which we would see him reprise in 2006 and 2007 with Dead Man's Chest, World's End, as well as 2011 with Stranger Tides, and this year with Dead Man Tells No Tale, which we'll talk a little about in a little bit. Secret Window, one of my favorite movies by him, based off of the Stephen King novel, The Rear Window, I think, possibly, or also The Secret Window. It's one of those things. Really great thriller with a beautiful twist you do not see till the end. You gotta watch it. Super good. It might be rated R though. So if you're not of age, get parents' permission first. Let's see. Finding Neverland. Have you seen this?
Finding Neverland. I think I have.
It is a not really documentary movie, but it's a fictional take upon Johnny Depp playing Sir James Matthew Barrie, who is the author of Peter Pan.
Okay.
And the interaction he has with these real-life children that he bases the characters on and everything, and his storytelling with them, it's really, really good. And I can't remember what it is at the end of the movie that makes it super sad. But it's a really great movie.
I don't want to say it because I don't want to spoil anything if anybody else has seen it. I think I know what you're talking about, but I won't say it. I won't say it.
It's just really good thing. Like there's a scene with Johnny Depp dancing with this bear of a dog, like from the Peter Pan movies. Like that's where he got the idea for this dog from, and he's like dancing with this dog.
I think I might have that
really,
movie.
really good. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with him playing Willy Wonka.
Yes, of course.
Really wasn't a fan of him, but you know.
I would say as the actor, Johnny Depp, he, like I said before, goes into extreme detail and research and everything about how that character would act psychologically and physically and emotionally, you know. So I would say for him portraying the emotions for that character, I feel like he did pretty well.
I think he did well.
But not one of his...
maybe like one or two notches too much, though, in
some
places.
And not some... It's not one of those movies or one of those characters where they're just like, oh my gosh, you know. Whereas Captain Jack Sparrow, that's where everybody knows Johnny Depp is. That was him, basically. That's just his alter ego, you know?
I also feel like maybe the art style of the movie was a little different. It sort of was a bit Tim Burton-esque as well as...
Yeah.
Not all the buildings were the same. Like, everything's at angles and weird curves. And I think if they made it a little more normal through it, it might have worked out a bit better. But, you know, Disney was trying to remake it feel a bit more modern. So, you know, you have to give them their due credit for trying. Let's see, Pirates of the Caribbean. This is probably going to buy from one of my favorites. Public Enemies. Johnny Depp playing John Dillinger, the real life, not really mob, but the real life gangsters who just racketeered through the sort of like the central USA at that point, sort of that Chicago-ish area of him just robbing banks and everything, and he does a wonderful job portraying a gangster in this film of the accent, the attitude, and the way you always hear about John Dillinger, like the way he would take hostages but is so friendly with them. Like in the car rides back and everything, he's always, you know, treating women with extreme respect and everything.
Right.
And whatnot. And was really one of those guys, like when you think of a gangster and robbing a bank, you think of John Dillinger. He sort of paved the way for that stereotype of he's the guy who gets up onto the sort of like the cashier's rack and everything. He gets up and he fires his gun. It's like, all right, this is a bank robbery and everything. We ain't hurting anybody. You know, we're just trying to do our justice and everything for everything the government's stealing from us and whatnot. And it's super good with Christian Bale playing opposite of the detective chasing after him. Also super, super good in that movie as well. I highly suggest it. It is rated R. It is also starring the love interest being, and I'm trying to remember how to pronounce her name. It's Marion Cotillard. Marion Cotillard, I believe is how you properly pronounce her name, because it's French and you do not pronounce the L's. It's very... Latte, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's Latte?
Yes, it's Latte.
Oh.
It's my cat. I'm currently sitting in my computer chair, which is my cat's favorite place to sleep. And I've had to not have him sleep in it today. That way we could use the chair. So, unfortunately, he's at the door crying for it. So, unfortunately, he has to wait. 2010, also playing the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland. Very interesting how he did it. And I think he did it well justice. For at least the first one. The Tourist, great movie with Jennifer Gardner playing Frank Tupelo in this idea of he gets caught up in this like criminal scheme of trying to steal something from this guy who's worth millions, and everybody thinks it's him because this woman says it's him, even though he's not. But everybody thinks he is, and towards the end he sort of thinks maybe he is, but you never really know. And it's really, really good. Lots of people like to berate it, say it's not really good, but it's really good. It's almost sort of like a romance movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really good, in my opinion. He came out in the DreamWorks movie Rango, playing a sort of real lizard in a old western type town during a drought. Came out as Barnabas Collins in sort of a modern retelling of the Dark Shadows show that went on in early 80s, possibly. I think it was when the show came out. Lone Ranger, playing Tonto in 2013. Not the greatest movie ever, in my opinion. But, it wasn't John Carter. We'll say that. A movie that nobody has seen but knows is bad. 2014 coming out as Transcendence. Very interesting movie in which playing a guy who basically uploads his mind into the internet. It's really interesting. And yeah, I believe this is also the first movie in which he stars alongside his, I don't know if it was at that time, current or future wife, Amber Heard.
Oh.
Yep. Into the Woods 2014, playing the wolf.
Just recently watched that too.
I haven't seen it yet.
I fell asleep at the very end of it, but that was just because it was Sunday. I woke up early for church, and Sunday naps. It's like a typical thing that happens,
Mm-hmm.
But he did it wasn't a very big role. It didn't last very long, but it was still pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Yep. 2015 Mordecai. Not his best in my opinion.
Shane's got that on DVD too. I didn't.
Again, I fell asleep. Better portrayal in 2015 was Black Mass. Him playing James Righty Bulger, a sort of not really. I don't really know if you could call him a gangster, but he was sort of like a gangster informant for the FBI during the 70s, where his older brother was a senator and everything, and there's a lot of stuff of him using the FBI to help him do crime. By only giving them the names of a couple different people. And it's really, really good. One of the main FBI agents in there is played by Mike Halloran. For those of you who are a favorite viewer of Stranger Things, is also the sheriff.
Oh, he was also in Good Luck Charlie,
mm-hmm.
the TV show on Disney Channel. I love him. He's such a good actor. I enjoy him very much. Did you watch Stranger Things?
Yes, I have.
It's good. I think he
show.
Portrayed his character very, very well.
Yep, I can't wait for Halloween for season 2.
I know, I'm so excited.
Let's see, 2016, Alice Through the Looking Glass. Still have not seen it. I probably won't.
Why not?
How bad people said it was.
It was so good. I
will also say that part of the reason why I don't want to see it is I know Sacha Baron Carter is in there, and I absolutely hate him as an actor.
Who does he play, do you know?
I think the Time King or something.
Oh, you don't like him?
No.
Mr. Time or whatever his name was?
Yeah, I like him in Les Miserables, but anything else...
Oh, well, who was he in Les Mis?
He played Mr. Thénardier.
The guy... Oh, wait, maybe.
He and his wife had the inn who brought up Fantine.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yep.
Or brought up, not Fantine.
Fantine, Cosette.
Yeah, there we go. Yep.
Also, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, 2016. Have not seen it yet. I've not been able to get... I've not been able to get my hands on a copy from the library yet. It's very much in high demand, but I am looking forward to seeing it. Though, I'm probably just going to stop there because I heard that they want to make 5 sequels from it, and I'm not about that life.
Oh, no. If you go to Casey's, they rent them out, too.
True.
And they might have it over
But
there.
if I get it from the library, I get it for free. Because you rent all of them for free.
You lucky.
I'm a stickler for doing things for free. Otherwise, this year, 2017, Johnny Depp portraying Captain Jack Sparrow in Dead Man Tells No Tales. And Yes, though, something we do get from Johnny Depp this week, we did get the trailer for the Kenneth Branagh movie Murder on the Orient Express coming out this fall. And that looks flippin' amazing.
I haven't seen that yet. Well, do you have a pen? Can I borrow a pen?
Yes, here you are.
Thank you. What was that movie again?
Murder on the Orient Express, based off of the Agatha Christie novel.
Okay. The only reason I say I love Agatha Christie is because of the Doctor Who.
The Doctor Who. Yep. There's also the thing that it says announced here on IMDb. I would have to do more digging to make sure it's official. But with this Mummy movie coming out starring Tom Cruise, Russell Crowe, and Sophie Boutella, that there's going to be this dark universe being made from Universal of them redoing some of these classic monsters like Dracula and Frankenstein and everything, to where supposedly it's been announced, and there's this photo from Universal with a whole bunch of people saying that at some point Johnny Depp is going to be in the movie The Invisible Man, if not The Invisible Man himself.
Oh, really?
Yes, it should be really interesting because it's sort of like placing all these iconic monster flicks like Dracula and Frankenstein and putting them in a modern sense.
Oh.
So it should be really interesting, especially because when I was looking at different actors and actresses from Disney movies, there was a rumor that apparently some people want Angelina Jolie to be the bride of Frankenstein. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Yeah, that is Johnny Depp wishing him a great happy birthday. For me, Public Enemies is my favorite from him.
Sweeney Todd. I don't remember when I saw it, but this was shortly after, I think, Shane and I had been dating for a year, that I had watched it, because I had heard about it, and Brooke likes it, too.
Yes.
Because she was over at my house on Saturday, and she was listening to the soundtrack.
I think she likes it a little too much.
Oh my gosh, though. No, for reals. I love that movie. I didn't think I would fall in love with it as much as I did. Same with the whole Les Mis thing in high school. I didn't like reading the book. It was kind of boring to me. And I don't read anyway. You know I don't read.
And they read the abridged version, which is about, yay thick. It's about 162 pages.
The text was so stinking small. Like, I had to, like, hold it up here, and I was, like, reading it. And I don't have very good eyes anyway, but still.
Meanwhile, I read the unabridged version, which is about, like, 3,000 pages.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember you carrying that book around, too, when we did that section.
And those come in 3 volumes of about 2-inch thick books.
Yeah, overachiever much?
I wanted to read the actual thing,
no,
not
it's all
somebody's
good. It's all good.
Translation.
It's all good. No, but yeah, the same with Les Mis and everything. Like, when I watched the musical version, I didn't think that I would fall in love with it as much as I did, and now I have the whole soundtrack on my phone. Same with Sweeney Todd. So.
Yep. So so that's wishing Johnny Depp a very happy birthday there. We wish him a great career and many more great movies.
Yes.
So that sort of ends our usual beginning part of the podcast. Couple of things about my channel, real quick. Videos are still coming. I've done recording for different things that's still coming. Hopefully more streams. Dealing with Minecraft Sky Factory. I don't know if I'll be streaming that during the summer. I might just record that and upload it in what would normally be the about hour and a half long 3-hour segments I usually do if I don't find time to record it.
Especially with you being at home and working and everything,
Yep.
your schedule is not as flexible as it was in college too.
Yep.
And I get that.
Yep. So it should be interesting to see what that's coming, but there is some more videos coming up. I do know, I think possibly this weekend, I'm recording a lot of great stuff with Zach the Bone Killer Bone Shines.
There you go.
Always go check out his channel. Link is in the description below, as well as Dana's. Otherwise, if you feel free to, there's also the text right there on screen. I just figured out how to do that today with my program. So.
There you go. Nice.
Yep.
Cool.
So, yeah, if you feel like entering in all that long string, otherwise just copy paste it from down below. Otherwise, one of the things that I did pick up earlier this week from Steam with a very wonderful Steam sale is, for those of you who are great fans of the Telltale Batman game that I did for the channel at the beginning of the year, and it's actually last fall I started it, ended beginning of the year. they came out with the Guardians of the Galaxy one that is coming out, and episode 2 just released this week. And Steam is having this great sale, and I was able to get the entire game, so what will be all 5 episodes when they come out, for like $18 instead of the normal like $25, $30.
Huh.
It is a wonderful sale going on. If you are interested in the game, I would suggest going over there. It's at a greatly reduced price, and so yeah, so I'll actually be mentioning it here, and on a poll over on the Lego MacGyver blog is a poll to see whether you guys want me to do it like how I did the Batman one, to I just do the entire episode and put it into chunks, or if you guys want me to stream it to you guys so we can do it live and get all of your reactions as I get them as well. Which I might do at some point anyways, regardless, but yeah, whatever you guys would like to see first. So that'll be coming. But speaking of Guardians, have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Yes, I have. Of course I have. You know my boyfriend. Of course
Yes,
I have.
we
saw it when it came out, I think, on that Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good. And, like, I've already seen t-shirts of certain quotes from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at him, I'm like, hey, Shane, do you think I should get this for you? And he's like, yeah. I haven't gotten it
It
yet,
was
but
really good. I will be the downer to say it's not as good as the first one,
no.
but it was good.
Yes.
Regardless.
Did you see the end credit scenes though?
Yes, I did.
Okay, that's a stupid question for me to ask, but
yeah, the like 5 scenes.
Right.
Like, what was up with that?
I don't know.
I felt like they were reaching a bit too much.
It was confirmed, I think, a while ago that the Avengers Infinity War, they're going to meet Guardians together.
I know. I follow Chris Pratt on Instagram. And
oh, you do?
I love seeing all of his updates. He does a lot of things with guessing what snacks he's eating for some reason. It's really odd.
He's so
there's
funny.
A lot of stuff about Jurassic World 2 there, as well as there was for a time, I know Robert Downey Jr. on Instagram has a thing going on to where you can enter a contest to meet everybody on the set of Infinity War.
Oh, really?
Yes, and
That's
it has
incredible.
him going around seeing different people like Tom Holland, the new Spider-Man.
Yes, yes.
The 3 Chris's, Chris Evans, Chris Pratt, and Chris Hemsworth all together.
Yes.
Which is hilarious. It must be really odd to just call it the name Chris on set.
Yeah, no, Chris 1, Chris 2, Chris 3.
Yep. So, yeah, it was a really great movie. Where the music in there was good, but I don't think it was as good as the first one. I mean, I still bought the soundtrack from it because I love those 70s songs. And
yes.
there was a little girly moment when they started off with the song "Mr. Blue Sky" by ELO. Because I love ELO.
Mm.
Besides Mr. Blue Sky, they also came out with the song Xanadu from the movie Xanadu a couple years later. Otherwise, they're known for the great song "Don't Bring Me Down," coming out of the 80s, which is sort of an iconic song that I think has lost its grip.
No, I'm trying to remember, like...
Don't bring me down,
oh, yep.
Bruce.
Yes.
Really great song. Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Latte's
really,
yelling
really,
at you.
I know he's yelling at me. I'm going to get so much flack from him. I might not sleep tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Please pray for me to survive my cat.
I don't have a cat. I have a Chinese water dragon. And like I said earlier, Shane almost didn't put him back in his tank last night, so I probably would have woken up to a lizard in my face.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Tale. Have you seen that?
The newer one, the one that just came out?
Yep.
Yes, I did.
I was very fortunate. We saw it in Michigan. There was a night where my aunt took my sister for a sleepover, and so we went to go see it in IMAX 3D.
You did?
And let me tell you, that was an experience. That was...
I know, I don't remember if did we see it in 2D? I think we were planning on going to see it in 3D, but I think we just made it to the 2D showing, and it was cheaper, so I think we just went to the 2D. But, no, it was really good, and I haven't seen all of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I know, shame on me.
Well, I think some of us can agree that you can sort of skip that fourth one on Stranger Tides. That was a little odd.
I've seen Dead Man's Chest. I remember sitting in my grandpa's living room watching it on, like,
so you haven't seen At World's End?
I know.
Ooh.
I know.
Interesting.
Shame on me. I think my mom's got a couple of them on DVD. She doesn't have all of them yet, but I have to go get them, and then we'll have to catch up on that. But yeah, I enjoyed it. For somebody who hasn't seen all the movies, it was kind of confusing towards the end.
There was a couple of things towards the end that they bring back from a couple movies.
Right, and that's where I was getting a little confused. And my boyfriend and our old roommate freaking out over there, and I'm just like, I don't get it.
I mean, if I have one complaint about it, it's the idea of time in there, of the fact that supposedly this one takes place 19 years after the end of At World's End. And my brother and I calculated out, I believe, 6 years after On Stranger Tides. There's this very interesting thing to where there's this huge gap in time that you would never think existed because all the actors look the same that they did like 10 years ago in At World's End. It's very interesting. It's one of my main problems with it, but it's one of those that you would have to figure out afterwards and really doesn't matter. But it's a super, super great movie, and IMAX 3D is an experience if you want to see it and are able to. Because it's one of those to where there's a scene with a shark, and it scared the crap out of my mother next to me that she actually like jumped and grabbed my...
Oh, yeah, that's right. No, now I lost the movie. I forget what movie it was now. Oh, come on. What was it? It was, Doctor Strange. Shane wanted to go see Doctor Strange in IMAX 3D. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, honey, no.
I'm pretty sure people would have gotten vertigo seeing that in 3D.
No, we watched it in 3D, just regular 3D. I got sick. I was that close to getting sick. I had to, literally put my head on Shane's shoulder and couldn't watch for a solid 10 minutes. I was so, it was bad. It was so bad. But, yeah.
I think it would have been interesting to see Doctor Strange in 3D, but, of course, in Vermilion, there's a 2-screen theater, so we only ever get 2 movies at a time.
Oh, no. That has
And some of them, depending on what they are, last a couple weeks because you have to appeal to not only a slightly college campus town, but also the younger kids as well. So we had s'mores in there for a whole month, to where I didn't get half the great movies that came out in February and March.
Yeah, and see, I think the movie where I'm at, they don't do matinees anymore.
Oh, so it's just all nights.
Yeah, so I think I may have been one Sunday that they did a matinee, and that was really nice because it was, right after church, and we could just go in, watch a movie, come home. It wouldn't be so stinking late.
Sure.
And then, because I like going to movies. I have no problem going to movies. I have to be in the mood to go to a movie, though. But if it's on a Sunday night, and we don't go to the very late showing, we get home at 12:31 a.m., and then I got to work really early in the morning, and it's just...
Now, see, I'm a guy, I could pretty much go to a movie anytime. It's just, I have to be in the mood to get popcorn, though.
Oh.
I'm one of those guys. I eat popcorn about 4 times a year.
Really?
And that's usually when I go see a movie in theaters.
Huh.
I will never just pop in a bag. It's one of those, I really have to be in the mood. It's not one of those, a vegetable. It's asparagus. I like it, but I'm not going to eat it every month. It's every once in a while. That's me with popcorn. And it's interesting because I now work at the theater here in town in Orange City with doing concession as well as also cleaning, which that is very interesting.
Yeah, my boyfriend used to clean in our hometown, and this is when we first started dating. Our first date, we went to a restaurant and we ate Mexican food, which was really good. And then we went to go see Kung Fu Panda 3. That was our
still
first...
Still have not seen all of it.
Really?
I've seen about the first 20
minutes. They had it
minutes.
on Netflix for a while.
It still is. I know I can see it.
Is it still on Netflix?
Yep.
But yeah, no, it was really good. And the reason because he worked at the movie theater, I got him for free. So it was super cheap. So the only thing he had to pay for was dinner, which it was a great date. Honestly, it was fun. And then we went to go see Deadpool. And our old roommate had a morph suit as Deadpool, so my boyfriend borrowed it from him, and I was like, I don't have anything Deadpool or anything, so I just wanted a panda onesie.
Sure.
Yep.
I think that's appropriate given Deadpool.
Well, I mean, I didn't have a unicorn onesie, so I couldn't wear a unicorn. It'd be funnier. No, but I didn't have one, so
sure.
I just wanted a panda, which is close enough, right?
Alright, this is really recent, but I saw it Sunday because now that I work at a theater, I could get my mom and it free. Wonder Woman.
I saw that. I just saw it. I won't
we
say
aren't going to say any spoilers, but
no.
I do want to say...
Yes, that was really good.
That is the way a superhero movie needs to be done, DC.
Yes.
take it from them. Zack Snyder, I know you're dealing with some hard stuff right now with the passing of a family member, but that is what you need to try and do with your movies. That is almost up there, if not just as up there, with The Dark Knight in how high superhero movies needs to be.
Yeah.
I know Marvel's doing their studio stuff and whatever with the Infinity War, but you don't need to do that. If you can get up there like Wonder Woman has, you'll be good, even if you don't have as many heroes or anything. So keep it in mind, Zach.
Yes, that was really good.
It was
applause. Yes, that was.
Yep.
Really.
If you haven't seen it, you should.
It's so good.
Even if you don't like Wonder Woman, I think you'll find something you like.
Yes, and at the very end of the movie, you're just gonna want to go, booyah! Like that was incredible. Like I get goosebumps just talking about it.
It's one of those that I don't think the use of like slow motion has ever been done better in action scenes.
Right.
And the soundtrack to it as well was always timed up perfectly with everything, especially the fight scenes, to where it's one of those, like, it's not a war movie, it's a superhero movie, but the bits of war in there felt like it felt real and like a really great war movie.
Like they were panning through when I don't mean to spoil anything, but they were going into the war to go into the big battle and whatever. I'm not going to say specific details, but just watching that scene and how they portrayed what it would have felt during that war, like I literally had to sit back and just think and just like take a breather, and I was like, okay, like good stab to the heart for a second. It was really good. I think they did very well portraying that feeling.
Yeah. So there's a couple movies that we saw recently that I thought we would talk about. So, yes, do you want to take a quick break to get something else to drink?
No, I got myself a Diet Mountain Dew, actually. Okay. I prepared myself.
Oh, you prepared yourself. I think I have a water somewhere in here. Yes, I do. So, we're just going to continue on with Chitty-Chat Cast here, going into our main section for today, in which today's topic, which I may have realized I might not have actually told anybody about besides who and me. We are talking about the real-life Disney remakes, as well as some of, other Disney movies.
Yes.
So, the way we were thinking about doing it is starting off with the, sort of like the first one that spawned these remakes, and working up to present day and talking about things for the future. So, we will be starting off with Maleficent. That came out in 2014, though I will say that technically Disney remakes actually started in 2010, when you think about it, with the Alice in Wonderland.
True.
But there's this huge gap, and it sort of felt like it was more of like a Willy Wonka and the Charlie Factory remake, to where it was a remake, but it didn't feel like it was Disney trying quite as hard as these ones that come out.
Yes, right.
Yep.
And I'm probably going to get a lot of people who are going to hate me for this, but when they started doing the remakes of the classics, I'm sitting here, when I'm thinking classics, I'm thinking Snow White, Cinderella, the good princess movies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You cannot replace the classics. Especially with us 96 babies. We grew up with the classics.
We grew up watching them on the VHS.
Right, and then when they come out to DVD, then you're just like, oh my gosh, for cereal. You can't replace that.
Yeah. It's one of those, you can't replace it unless you almost do, like, literal copy-paste of every movement, every word.
And it'd be cool to see a copy-paste version of different things, like Aladdin, for instance. Sure. I would love to see a CGI of, oh golly, what's the tiger's name?
Ooh!
What's the tiger's name?
Raja!
Thank you.
Because I used to have a cat named Raja.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. And that'd be really cool to see a CGI of that,
Yeah, especially when we talk about Jungle Book.
Oh, yes. Did you see that?
I did.
That was good.
For those of you wondering, just as a heads up, Jungle Book and Pete's Dragon are both on Netflix right now, free to watch.
I haven't seen Pete's Dragon yet. Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it good?
Yes. I almost super researched for these topics. So please bear with me, because my notes are super, super tiny. So if I'm like staring like this at my notes, it's because I wrote really small because I was stupid and just didn't use more pages.
I did this all at work last night.
So, yeah, so we'll start off with Maleficent, which, interesting to start off with the Disney remake by not starting off...
With Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, we're starting off with Sleeping Beauty, but not from her standpoint.
Exactly. I liked how they... Maleficent. I liked it how they switched it. I did.
After watching it, and after dreading my sister watching it over and over, because it's her copy, she doesn't know I stole it from upstairs to watch it yesterday.
Chris.
Because if I tell her that I watched it, then she's going to want to watch it even more now.
Oh,
currently, she's in this Moana kick, so I'm just hoping she'll still stay with that.
I hope we'll talk about that later, because I love Moana.
So, Maleficent, really interesting to see it from the point of technically the evil witch.
She wasn't evil, though, at the beginning.
She wasn't, watching this movie and seeing this backstory of it, she wasn't.
Yeah. And spoil territory. If you haven't seen it, stop.
Yeah. Here, let's see if I can actually do that. Let's see if I can actually do that.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, here we go.
Anyway, so if you haven't seen any of these movies or whatnot, just put us on mute or something, and just periodically just unmute us. But
Yep. So you keep talking. I will post on screen what movie we're talking about when. So if you want to skip to the next one that you might have seen, then
good idea. Well, you like to play with this thing because you finally figured out how to do it.
Okay, I'm having fun.
No, it's okay. It's fine. No, okay. So with Maleficent, it was really cool to see, especially like in the very beginning, how when everybody thinks of Maleficent and they go back to the original Sleeping Beauty movie, they're just like, oh, Maleficent's the bad person. And she was never a good person.
Mm-hmm.
But now this movie goes back into her perspective where before everything began with her becoming an evil witch, she was a very good person. She loved her environment. She loved the people that she was with. She protected everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a whole different picture, especially for us growing with the original movies.
Sure.
Completely changed my perspective. Completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really interesting to see sort of how immediate it jumped in with her as a young kid. Like, there wasn't, like, backstory to Maleficent so much as to, like, how she was born, like, who her parents were and everything. And I don't think it matters too much, but it sort of brings up the fact, like, why is her name Maleficent? Because if you were to take into context of her name and sort of the mal meaning of the prefix of everything and how it means bad and whatnot.
Right.
That it seems interesting that they would name their kid for something that a child that's basically very happy and everything in the beginning, as full of magic and stuff. You sort of feel that as positive feelings there and everything. It was sort of interesting there. It really made me wonder why she was born with like super red lips and basically like rainbow eyes. Like, why was that a thing that needed to be in? Like,
it's a Snapchat filter, Chris.
Thus, ladies and gentlemen, why do you not use Snapchat?
It was a filter. She woke up like that, right?
Mm-hmm. It was one of those like, all right, I do have to say something is, the point where Stefan takes away her rings. I'm sorry, but that is not. I don't care how drugged you are. Woman, you are feeling that.
Yeah.
Like,
unless, like,
all those no's that would have to go in there. Sure, it's magic and everything. We get that at the end where they magically come back on.
And how do I pronounce this? Anatomy, like, anatomical? Is that what?
Anatomical?
Yeah, anatomical standpoint. And if, like, my boyfriend's done a lot of research on this stuff. One of his characters from his book has wings. So, anyway, it's bone.
Mm-hmm.
Out, like, imagine your shoulder blades, but just poking out and having,
it's
extra bones.
There, and then it's more bones at the top,
and then
all
it's
the
more
nerves.
Right, yeah.
Because feathers are like curls of a porcupine are like hair on a person.
And I'm sorry, you cannot just take a knife and slice it off. Like, that's not a piece of meat. It's bone. Like, you have to take a saw and, like, legit
And also, like, it seemed like they were, like, one thing. Like, the wings were, like, connected at some point. Like, he dug into, like, the small of her back for skin, because otherwise, wings are two separate things that they're separate. They're not like a butterfly on somebody's back.
Right.
It's not like you can strap on a
It's like somebody physically taking, like, like, you know how you use a spade to cut and shape circles and stuff into the ground?
Sure.
It's like somebody taking a spade and literally cutting into the back,
into
in your shoulder blades, and, like, digging your shoulder blades out.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
No, yeah.
Also, why does Dival not age? That was something interesting. Sure, he's a raven and everything, but, you know, you have to give it into things like, raven, like, how long they live and everything. He doesn't age. I like that I wrote down that it's almost like the opposite of Beauty and the Beast, that this is almost like reverse Stockholm Syndrome.
Oh.
That it's like the captor falling in love with her, which, for those of you wondering, does have a name. It's called Lima Syndrome.
Oh.
To where the captive falls to have feelings for the hostage. I liked how, once she loses her rings, it's like, she could walk before, and she was walking fine, but it's like, suddenly, once she loses her rings, she can't walk for some reason. It's like rheumatism just set in immediately.
Well, it's like somebody taking off your toes.
Sure. I mean, I guess it does make sense with how big they were. She grew up with them, you know, like... I could understand it now, thinking about it that way.
It's like somebody would chop off your leg, and you can't just... You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense now that I think about it that way, but immediately when I saw it, it's like, she could walk before. Why is she having so much problems now?
Yeah, imagine... how much do you think they would weigh?
That is a big deal, and when she says that, they were... bigger than she is tall.
And they grew with her as she was growing, you know? So, like, they might have been, like, they were proportionate with her body, you know? And once you take all that portion away, then you're just thrown everywhere.
Yeah. But it is interesting. Like, it's said in the beginning she's a fairy, but, like, we see the smaller fairies and everything, and they're super small. Sure, they can be big, but they don't like it. So why is Maleficent so huge, and why does she have the horns?
If she's
like,
do you think maybe you know how dogs are, that they could be mixed breeds? Do you think maybe she could be a mixed breed of a fairy? You think about that?
I could believe that,
because we don't know her parents.
Yeah,
right.
I feel like there was also maybe a bit of lack of, like, saying she's a fairy, and then there's the three little fairy godmothers,
right?
If you want to call them that. But I feel like calling them fairies and, like, everything else is like amorphic, like mushrooms and trees and branches and stuff, that I feel like it's strange that they're the only ones that are slightly humanesque or fairy. Otherwise, you have all of these, like, woodland creatures, basically, and then, like, Avatar-esque, like, water beasts that fly. That it's sort of like, but you don't really think too much about it. Sure, I'm analyzing this super closely, partially due to the fact that I blame school and all the book reports I had to do and stuff. And secondly, there was a book club that I went to last week with my mother, and I just ripped that book apart.
Well, you also... That's you, though. Like, your personality. You like to take things and take it apart and understand it. That's fine.
Yeah. There's also things like moments where she's, like, yelling stuff, like why other people don't hear her. The kiss twist about True Love's kiss in the end, I thought was interesting. Other things like, why is it that the king booby traps his own castle for her if he never knew she was going to come back for Sleeping Beauty, even if the curse happened? It's like, why booby trap your own castle?
Right.
I feel like, sure, he could have done it, like, knowing she was coming, but I felt like it was almost a bit too prepared. And more importantly, and something I'll mention in Pete's Dragon, is how do those knights know how to capture a dragon? I mean, when she turns Diaval into the dragon, like, they have that dragon down in, like, 2 minutes flat. It's like, nobody knows how to take down a dragon if you've never seen one before. And if it's never mentioned before, how do they know Like, you can have some sense of the idea, but if you see a dragon appear in front of you, I'm sorry, but you're crapping your pants. Like, you ain't never seen that before,
No,
honey.
yeah, right.
To where it's one of those, like, I feel like they could have at some point, but not that fast. Like, they seemed almost way too organized in that end scene of capturing the dragon and Maleficent.
Yeah, but then again, like, if you're taking just this whole movie and other movies too, that you have a lot of questions about how did this come up, or why is this, you know? Do you realize how many movies would be so stinking long if they answered all of those questions? So there are some things that have to be left unanswered, though. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's understandable.
Yeah, my other thing about it was interesting at certain parts where I sort of really listened into the music in the background. It felt very Harry Potter-esque, actually, and everything. And there was one specific thing about a song, I thought. Nope, sorry, that's when I talked about Cinderella. Never mind. But, yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible. IMDb gives it a 7 out of 10 on their Metascore of 56. So, it's not terrible, but starting out, I think it's a good stepping point for Disney. So, yeah, so should we move on to Cinderella?
Sure, I haven't seen it, but we'll go there.
Alright, so...
And you can spoil it for me because I like I had said,
to tell everybody at home, it is literally copy-paste of any Cinderella story ever told. There is nothing changed to where, yeah, it's literally like the original one. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
It's literally like the original cartoon Cinderella. It's like all the remakes except for those terrible modern ones with Selena Gomez, where they involve music in there for some reason in hip-hop. I'm sorry, but...
I liked that movie, Chris.
I actually like the Hilary Duff one better.
I do too.
But, Cinderella. Okay, first off, I want to point out the very odd thing that they introduced at the beginning that never gets brought up again. I'm sorry, but for continuity's sake, if you're going to make that big of a show of this little thing, please bring it back up, because you never do. And that's this moment right at the beginning where they say that Cinderella is magical. She has magic because she literally, like, takes a cloud and turns it into cotton candy.
I love cotton candy.
And it's one of these things that's never brought back up. Of, like, why she did it, how did she do it, and does it mean anything?
And it doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the movie.
Nope.
Then why the heck are you...
Exactly.
I've never even seen the movie, and
Yeah.
I agree with you. Okay. That's a little weird, though.
One of my things is they turn Jacques, one of the mice, and make her Jacqueline.
Why?
I don't know. Gus was really nice. That was the interesting thing, is none of the mice talked, and I felt like that was an interesting thing to do that I think worked, because it didn't put so much focus on them as to their characters, but as their importance and influence to Cinderella.
Okay.
In relation to that, Lucifer, God, I love the cat they got to play Lucifer.
Oh, really?
Oh, I just want to hug that cat. It is gorgeous.
And
it's a real cat. It's not CGI like I think what the mice are.
Oh, okay.
So it's really interesting, and every moment that cat is on the screen is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
Okay, I have a question for you real quick before you move on to the next point. Since you've seen this movie,
Yep.
Do they have the original songs in there too, like all of them? Or not as much? Because I know when we get to Beauty and the Beast, they didn't have very many songs from the original.
From Cinderella, there really isn't much songs in there. There's just the Great Bippity Boppity Boo.
Right.
But, no.
Oh, really? None?
No, except the one that she sings, which is this little ditty that she keeps repeating over and over. These, like, 6 lines that don't make much of a difference at all.
Do you know what the lines were?
No, it's like ditty ditty ditty, something about a king, and it's
okay.
like this little limerick that you would repeat. But yeah, they don't have any of that. It's interesting getting like an origin story to Cinderella before she meets the godmother and the sisters. Putting a lot of importance on the father figure, which I thought was interesting, and why she has this stepmother and everything. One of those that the stepmother, that she's not the old hideous one that you get in the Disney cartoon. That the way I wrote her down is she's beautifully deceiving.
Oh, okay.
That she's
She can kind of get what she wants by her looks, kind of thing.
Sort of, and that she doesn't have to be old or look snarly to be mean as well. Once the father unfortunately passes away, which is another thing I wrote down that's in relation to a lot of Disney movies is, Disney's not afraid to just kill off any parents. Disney's not afraid to kill off parents, kill off people, but so help them, they kill off an animal, man. Oh, that's just, that's a line too far. But,
speaking of killing animals, I mean, I'm not even going to go to the Fox and the Hound.
Ooh.
Nope, I can't. Yeah. Okay,
Ooh.
sorry. That's the only thing I'm going to say about it. Moving on.
Let's see, the mice don't look super fake, I wrote down, because I do believe they are CGI.
It's nice to have things that are CGI look real, though.
There's also this that you did not feel bad for Cinderella right away, or you weren't supposed to feel bad and feel pity for her for dealing with the godmother and the sisters. It's very much a progressive thing of finding out, okay, they marry into the family now, the father goes away, they have to lay off their servant, she has to do everything. It's very progressive to where I feel like it's very earned pity for her.
Oh.
All the way through. Let's see. For those of you who don't know, Helena Bonham Carter, who is literally like in almost every Johnny Depp movie for some reason, she plays the fairy godmother in here, and you would never know that unless you knew it was her.
Really?
Because number one, blonde hair, which sort of obscures it, but yeah, she just doesn't really act like she normally does. She sort of, but you really wouldn't know. Like, if you knew her voice, maybe. Well, it's one of these, like, this is one of the top, like, actress portrayals that I didn't know it was her.
Oh.
It was very interesting.
But that's, like, really good, though.
Yeah, it is really good. But, yeah, there's no Bippity Boppity Boo song. Like, she says Bippity Boppity Boo, like, it's like any other word. Like, it's so downplayed. And it's like, ugh. And I also wrote down that I despise the carriage they ride in because it's like literally all gold. It is like almost hideous to look at. Yeah. Yeah. Here's what I mentioned. The dance music. During the big dance scene at the ball, I felt like it was almost very reminiscent of the song from Sleeping Beauty. The.
Once Upon a Dream.
Yeah.
It's Once Upon a Dream.
I almost felt like it was a variation of that used for the big dance number.
Did you hear, going back to Maleficent, did you hear that remake that they did of that song too? At the end? During the credits?
Oh, I didn't stay all the way through the credits.
But
I was a little disappointed they didn't put it into the regular part when she was singing.
I don't like that version. I don't, because it's, okay, when you think of a princess movie, things are supposed to be light and happy, and there are some dark moments, but in the end, it's all happy and everything. That song, like you said, we grew up with a happy version. That's a very sad, slow, depressing version, and I looked at my boyfriend and I was like, no, turn it off. I don't like it.
But I did feel like they pulled off the dancing well for Cinderella never danced before and just picking it up. I thought it was actually very well done, that it didn't look like, oh, she knew all the steps and everything. Like, she pulled off, like, making us believe she didn't know how to dance. I wrote down I love the young Idris Elba, the captain in the movie, who's like the best friend of the prince, who everybody calls Kit. I didn't realize his name was Kit. But
Kit or Kip?
Kit.
Kit, like a kitten? Kit?
Yep, oh. K-I-T.
Alright.
Apparently they just call him that.
Okay.
But yeah, and then why is it she has magic when it's never brought back up?
Right.
I mean, most of it literally was like copy-paste. But, yeah. It wasn't terrible. IMDb also gives it a 7.0, 67 Metascore, so a bit better than Maleficent, actually. But, yeah, it's one of those that you could easily just pass it by, like most people did. Probably the biggest thing that probably got people to maybe see it was in theaters and on DVD. It featured the Frozen Fever featurette of the birthday party for Elsa, but she has a cold. And it's really interesting because she sneezes out mini snowmen. Called Snowgies.
Smoothies.
Yep.
I love it.
So, moving on, we have next up in 2016, The Jungle Book. And I should mention it's the Jon Favreau Jungle Book, because I do know there is yet another Jungle Book that they want to do, not by Disney, but by somebody else. I believe Guillermo del Toro, possibly? Next year, possibly. Don't know why.
Huh.
So, have you seen The Jungle Book?
Then this one?
Yes.
I have. And I watched. There was like 2 or 3 VHS versions that I had seen, but the original, with, you know, I can't explain it. Like, when I say original, there's a lot of remakes, but the animated original.
Yeah.
This movie I was very skeptical about going to, because like I said at the very beginning of this live stream, with remakes of Disney movies, you cannot just replace the original. And I know that, and I'm sure this is probably what a big reason behind that they're doing the whole remake is the fact that they want to reach to a bigger audience for people who are more interested in the more CGIs and everything like that. That's cool. I like that idea. But you can never replace the originals.
Yeah.
And so, when I went into this movie, I was really skeptical, and honestly, I was not in the best of moods when I went to that movie. I think my boyfriend and I got in a fight. I forgot what one it was. But, after watching it, you know, I think I cried a little. A little. I might have. But, I didn't mind it. It wasn't bad. And I looked at Shane, and I was like, you know, I went into this movie with a wrong attitude. It was really good. I enjoyed it. Not something I'd be like, oh my gosh, just watch, you know, The Jungle Book again, you know, like, but it was a good movie. I think this is the first one that I watched, of the whole remakes of the classics, because I watched Maleficent, because my boyfriend had it on DVD, and I had watched it.
Sure.
So, but yeah, no, this is the first one that I went to, and it was pretty decent. I enjoyed it.
I mean, out of all of the Disney remakes, it's the one I have the least notes on. Because at some point in it, I literally just enjoyed it.
Yes. And Bill Murray as
Baloo?
Yes.
Oh.
I didn't even think about it until I was like, wait, I looked at Shane, I'm like, that's Bill Murray. And my mom's favorite actor is Bill Murray, besides Robert Downey Jr. But
sure.
Yeah, no, it was I would never imagine Baloo as Bill Murray until they did it, and I was like, you know, no, it fits.
Yeah,
it fits.
It's one of those, like, right when you first see Baloo after he rescues Mowgli, and you see him, the first thing I wrote down was, like, I want to hug that bear. Like, he looks so fun and cuddly.
He does.
I mean, the one thing I wasn't a fan of is him and Mowgli singing The Bare Necessities.
Yeah.
I felt like with their tone and pitches, it was a little off, and it didn't quite fit.
Right.
But it's one of those that it was still like a fun moment.
It was still one of those, you know, pick up, snap fingers kind of thing.
Yep. Let's see. Yeah, I thought the scenery in it was beautiful. The animals being literally all CGI practically.
Oh yeah, no, that whole movie was basically CGI.
Yeah, besides Mowgli, and I thought this is beautiful. And a lot of it believable.
Yes.
Like, all of those animals in the CGI was like, immediately I was like, oh, there's so many movies I want them to do now with this specific CGI because it's so specific. Like, there are a lot of moments, and I'll mention again in Pete's Dragon that their fur and everything, like, is unbelievable. Like, you can almost see, like, individual strands or tufts.
Oh, yeah.
And it's always flowing with water or wind. And it's like, it's super, super good.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote down, like, right when Shere Khan comes, I wrote down, it's like, yeah, Idris Elba, perfect person for him.
Yes. And another thing with the whole CGI, they were really worried that this movie wasn't going to get very much profits in the box, you know? Because this movie was so expensive to make. Because it's 99% CGI. So.
Yep.
But no, they did surprisingly very, very well. Yep.
The
budget
was about $175 million, raking in a gross of $363 million.
Right, and the opening weekend was 103 million, which
Yep.
was
so
incredible.
they made it back plus
No,
some,
yeah.
which is always what you want.
Of course, because then you know how much it costs to make the movie, and you make exact amount, then you don't have any profit there.
Mm-hmm.
Then it really wasn't worth it. But no, yeah, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Yep. Couple other things. I felt like Ka, the snake, you could have done the entire movie without her. Yeah, especially because it's Scarlett Johansson voicing the snake.
Yeah. And I can never see Scarlett Johansson other than Black Widow. I'm sorry.
I felt like she didn't portray one of the main things I wrote down is she does not sound like a snake. No. Like every snake in the history of voicing a snake has always drawn out the long S's.
She doesn't really do that unless she says trust in me, because that's the S in trust.
Yeah, and I feel like she really doesn't fit in, and I feel like her whole scene is like a very loose thing to try and introduce Baloo. But I feel like you could just have Mowgli stumble upon him instead of dealing with Ka, and it'd be fine, because in the animated one, Ka comes up a lot more, and Bagheera fights him and everything, and I think he's working with King Louie. Yep. But in this one, Ka's in one scene and that's it.
Yeah, that, and again, you cannot ruin the classic. And Ka was a dude.
Yeah, I think this was maybe Disney's first big mistake in the remakes, is changing up Ka.
You can change...
And not doing it well.
We'll talk a little bit more about, or I will talk a little bit more about this when we get to Beauty and the Beast. Mm-hmm. You can change a little bit of the timeline and take a little bit of songs out and not have it be copy and paste. You don't want to completely change a character, because then, people who love that character that they grew up with the original, they're going to absolutely hate the whole movie just because of that one character change.
Yep.
And like you said, you could never visually see Scarlett Johansson being Ka. Same with me. I could never do it. Plus, like I said, Ka was a dude, and that just
and it didn't feel like Scarlett Johansson was even putting on a voice. It's not like she was just talking regularly. Like,
she was more
when
trying to be...
Ka was talking, I kept thinking it's just Black Widow speaking. It's like it's not anything special.
No, and it's not bad for her to have that publicity as the Black Widow either. That's good for her, and I'm very excited for the new Avengers movie to come out. I'm very excited, and so is my boyfriend. It's unbelievable how incredibly excited he is. But anyway.
Yep. One of the things I did mention, as much as I didn't like Bill Murray singing as much, Christopher Walken playing King Louie and singing "I Want to Be Like You."
That was
that hit all the right places.
Oh yeah, his voice was very well blended, especially if you compare it to the original.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Do I think the orangutan they got to play King Louie was a bit big? Yes,
a little bit.
But I think that helped bring out the actual ferociousness of the animal.
That and his power.
Yeah. But I feel like Christopher Walken was just so good in playing him and everything. And that morning he's like, you come from the south. Well, the papaya. Or the pow-pow that I call it. Because it's the sound it makes when it falls on the ground. Have you tried it before? It's amazing.
Right.
And it's like this really awkward exchange that you would normally get when you go to a Godfather. It's like you're quaking in your boots, but they're just like, hey, have you done this before? It's like this completely normal conversation that you're scared of. And I thought that was really nice, and his singing of the song was good. I felt like towards the end when Shere Khan comes and is fighting everyone, that I felt like Baloo was kicking his butt. Like, this John Mayer is whooping this tiger. It's like, I could watch this for another 5 minutes, and I know Shere Khan ain't gonna win.
Yeah, that's a eating popcorn moment.
Oh, yes. But then the ending, during the credits, and it's this book. I felt like, why? Sure, it's called The Jungle Book. It was based off of a book, but it's like, why do you need to do this with the book? Like, when it does the end thing of, Bagheera, Mowgli, and Baloo in the tree and everything, I thought that was a great place to end on. And everything. And then it's this book and all the randomness in that. It was like, I thought it sort of took a bit away from it, but not too much. I'm sorry, Foofus. I told you later.
Oh. I thought my cat was bad at meowing and scratching at the door. I'm sorry, Latte.
Yes, it's just a little while. Yeah. Please go sleep in Zach's room if it's open. So yeah, that's Jungle Book. Yeah, I did not write much about it because I thought it was super duper good.
I liked it.
Yep. Let's see. Moving on. Peach Dragon.
Okay. I haven't seen this movie,
haven't seen this one?
I will let you take the thunder.
All right. I've not seen the original Peach Dragon. Oh, right.
Before.
I have not seen the original Peach. I've seen the original Peach Dragon. I didn't want to at the time.
Shane has two.
But I have not seen it in well over a decade in the Peach Jungle. That'd be an interesting matchup. I have not seen the original in a super long time, so I can't remember exactly what's all in it. But I felt like this one didn't care whatever happened in the original. It was mainly an original story to it that I thought was really good. Of course, the first thing I wrote down was it was a ballsy beginning because, like Disney, they'll kill off your parents like right away.
Parents, you don't need those. There you go.
Yeah,
just...
It starts off with a car accident.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it starts off with a car with the kid Pete reading this book. He's 6 years old. No, not 6 years old. Sorry, it's like 5. And he's reading this book.
By 1.
Yeah, reading this book and everything, and his parents talking to him. And a deer runs across the road, and they flip their vehicle. Pete survives, but not his parents. And so what he does is they were talking about adventures and how you have to be brave and everything. And so he takes his book and his backpack and he starts going off into the woods because he doesn't know any better and everything. And as he's moving along, a bunch of wolves come along. And it's one of those like moments of, okay, they're going to get the kid and whatnot. And then the dragon comes and everything. And immediately I was thinking it's like, that is a wonderfully done dragon. It looks a lot like what they did from Jungle Book, but different. I thought even the fur on Elliot was better than in the Jungle Book, just because not everything else was also CGI. You actually had actual scenery from, I believe, Oregon in the background, and that helped offset his brightish green fur and everything, and helped it stick out more. To where, yeah, I thought he was really, really good. Towards one of those halfway through, I realized, wait, he's a dragon? It's like, he's furry. Dragons aren't usually furry. They have scales and everything, but it's like one of these two, I didn't care because I liked him so much as a character in there that I was like, okay, furry dragons, that's fine. One of these things like how the kid survived 6 years in a forest, basically the wilderness, with just him and a dragon.
What would he have to eat, though?
Yeah, like, of course, they don't... I'm sorry, Foo-Foos. They don't show, like, them killing any animals, because, God forbid, Disney kill off an animal and show it on screen.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't even do that in the Jungle Book.
No, they didn't.
But it's like, how does he survive 6 years with him? It's like, sure, there's moments where he's, like, eating mushrooms, and I'm sure there's berries, but it's also, like, 6 years. It's like...
Insects and everything, too, though.
It's like, sure, but it's like 6 years, it's like, it shows a map of, like, the forest and everything, and how this woman has seen every square inch of it. It's like, I'm sorry, 6 years, if you have people roaming those woods for checking it, and, deforestation for lumber and everything, for the lumber company in there, it's like, you would have found him at some point. I'm sorry, 6 years, you would have seen that kid, you would have seen the dragon or something. And I wrote a how with exclamation point and a lot of underlining. It's like, there is this treehouse that is like, you know, everybody who's known Tarzan, there's that beautiful treehouse in there. This treehouse is like the unprofessional version of it, but it is so unbelievable. It's like, I'm sorry, there is no kid under the age of 12 who can do half of that, even with the help of a dragon with big old paws. It's like, I'm sorry, but no, I ain't believing that for one moment.
Right, and it's one of those things where you can't really question, you just gotta kind of...
Yeah, you just have to go with this. Right. So it's like, okay, what was it? There was one moment to where early on there's the kid Pete, and he meets up with the bear, and immediately I wrote down, it's like, oh, it's Mowgli and Baloo. One of the things is there's a moment where he has to pull a girl up from the falling branch, and I literally wrote, no, he has no upper body strength. For how young he is, for how malnourished he is,
right.
He has no upper body strength at all. I'm sorry, but how stuff he does, But it was interesting because the book Pete has with him is called Elliot's Lost Adventure or something, and it's about this little dog called Elliot. And so he calls the dragon Elliot.
Oh. That's and the book that he had in the car crash?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's interesting because I don't know how he taught Elliot the dragon. That dragon acts like a dog. Like, it's unbelievable. That guy will roll over, like I see my cat do sometimes, for you to, like, scratch his belly or whatever. One of the first moments that you see him outside of the beginning is he picks up this giant log and he does that classic thing where the stick is going this way and he tries to put it through something this way. And immediately I was like, he's a dog.
Yeah.
And every moment that dragon is on screen, when it's not action or there's other people, when it's just himself, every moment I enjoyed it was almost laughing. It was wonderful that it made me want to see more of him.
Sure.
Outside of the plot and everything. And the fact that it's a really decent sized dragon. Like, when you think of a dragon, it's about the normal size. Like, it's about 3 feet tall to the top of its back. It's got a big long tail, scales, wings, and everything. It's a pretty normal depiction of size of a dragon.
Sure.
But yeah, one of the things I wrote is, because I watched Pete's Dragon after Jungle Book, is I wrote down kids running through trees cliche. Is because every movie where there's a little kid in a Disney movie, they're running through a forest for some reason. And also howling. Like, this movie, he's howling like a wolf, just like Mowgli is. It's like, okay. Yeah, I loved every moment with the dragon. There's this hug scene after this really, like, action-packed scene where Pete and Elliot hug, and it's one of those, like, holding him in his paws and giving him a hug. It's like, oh man, that's a feels moment.
Oh, I hate those feels moments.
But it's interesting, like, there was a moment, a lot like with Jungle Book, where there was probably like an hour or so where I didn't write anything down, and I don't have much written down because I just wanted to enjoy it after a while. And there were, a couple other things that I don't remember right off the top of my head, but, that'd be interesting. That caught on the microphone. Yeah, it's really good for. I think a lot of people were.
Some crackers?
No, I think a lot of people were skeptical about it, just because of how, I want to say non-popular, but like how underseen the original was, and that style of animation and everything, and how long ago it was. That when people saw this, that if they hadn't seen the trailer and they just saw Pete's Dragon, they would think, oh, it's a remake of this movie that not many people liked, so why am I going to like it if they're remaking it? And I feel like it's really good, and I think even if you haven't seen the first one, if you have any presumptions about it, throw them away for a moment and watch it, because it's a great family movie too. It really talks a lot about family and everything. And yeah, it's just really interesting. But yeah, this movie brings up the other thing, like, nobody's seen a dragon before. How do they know how to capture it? And it's like, sure, every time you go and fight a dragon, apparently you have, like, infinite lengths of chain to just tie it up with. And that one, like, weakness or something to, like, make you go unconscious or put it to sleep, like tranquilizers or iron or something. It's always that one thing that they always just happen to have. And it's like, no. Like, the first time they see the dragon in Pete's Dragon, this group of hunters, I felt like was priceless and perfect to how they would react. But then any other time somebody sees a dragon, it's always like, oh, it's a dragon! Okay.
Okay, move on.
It's like, okay, we'll believe it. So, yeah. So that's my take on Pete's Dragon. Really good. It's on Netflix. So then that brings us to Beauty and the Beast, which came out earlier this year, and I believe just got released to DVD and Blu-ray this week.
Yes, my boyfriend bought it last night.
Or a digital copy from a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And I have seen it.
I have quite a bit to talk about this. Brooke and I have talked about this too. Well, this particular point.
I'm sure Brooke has, because
I know she hasn't seen it yet. But in the original movie, it's in France.
Yep. Oui, français.
Emma Watson is British.
I didn't even think of that, but now that I think
Guys!
about it.
And she doesn't even try to have, like, a French accent. Like, I can see why they casted her, though. The physical features, especially.
Mm-hmm.
But, guys.
I didn't think she was... The one thing I wrote that is, she's not Belle, she's the fangirl wanting to play Belle.
Exactly. But the Beast, oh my goodness, they did very well on the Beast.
I think they portrayed him well. I feel like his voice, because I like how he sounds in the first one, especially in Kingdom Hearts, I feel like his voice needed to be a bit gruffer. That it was loud and it had some ferociousness behind it, but it wasn't selling.
No, yeah. Okay, but the facial features on the Beast and how they created him and stuff too, that was very well done. And the castle, especially, I feel like they did very well with kind of copy paste from the original. You know, it first time I looked at it, I was like, oh, Hogwarts.
Yes, actually.
Emma Watson's perfect home, right? No, it was a very good movie. They had a couple songs from the original, but they added one.
They added two.
Did they add two?
Yes.
The one that the Beast sings. And
the one that the Beast sings, and when he's injured, and all of them were singing about getting back to being real people and everything when he's injured and sleeping in the bed. Oh. It's like right in the middle after the whole wolf fight.
I guess I don't remember that, or I vaguely do. But when he's singing when Belle leaves.
Mm-hmm. I wrote down, that's like a Les Mis moment.
Yes, it was. It was.
Yeah, it felt like Jean Valjean singing his soliloquy.
Yes! I was like, I cried. Shane looked at me, he's like, are you okay? I'm like, no, don't look at me. Mm-hmm. You know, like, that was a good heart thing, you know, that was really, really good. Yeah. But other than that, like, with the whole Emma Watson thing, I'm sorry, I can never, and I will never see Emma Watson as Belle. But Josh Gad, on the other hand, who was
LeFou.
Yes. I didn't know he voiced Olaf.
Oh, yep.
Until he had said it, I was like, oh. I'm like, oh no, I hear it. You know, he did very well, and I'm sure a lot of people have discussed this too. Disney is more trying to be open with everybody's opinions, and when I say everyone's opinions, I mean the LGBT community, which is now LGBT something. There's like, it keeps growing. But anyway, and my boyfriend wasn't very thrilled about the fact that Josh was not straight.
Yeah. Well, but if you think about it from the original Disney animated, that LeFou in that one, with how he talks and how much he likes Gaston, if you think about it now.
Yeah. I can see that. With my opinion, and you guys can voice your own opinions, that's up to you guys. I don't care. I mean, I do care, but not really, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mean it that way.
Yep, we love comments.
No, yeah, definitely. If you are the person who does not, or who's not straight, that's good for you. That's your opinion, your choice. That's fine. I will not be, and no, I never will be, because that's just what I believe. Simple.
Yeah, and I feel like they didn't overdo it in this movie.
No, they didn't.
And I think that's nice, but I felt like they almost tried to make it apparent, though. They didn't try to overdo it, but they wanted to make us know that it was there. And I felt like they didn't have to.
No.
But
and they did the same thing in Finding Dory, too.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't?
But I do know that one scene. you're talking about.
Yes, they have a lesbian couple in there, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
They're, like I said, Disney has always been a very loved company, a very loved movie producing company,
Mm-hmm.
with the animated movies and everything, and of course Disneyland and Disney World. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge thing, especially for, like, I want to go. I've never been. Shane has, because with his school, they take their band trip. They actually just went, the band and choir went down to Florida.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I will voice my opinion. If you're thinking of going to one of the Disney Worlds, do not bother with California. Go to Florida. California, highly disappointing.
Oh, yeah, because you went to California, didn't you,
Yep.
with the band? That's right. I've never been. I don't know if it's in...
Disneyland in Florida is basically about, like, 6 of the ones in California. Take 6 of those, and that's the size of the one in Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it... Now, they're opening an Avatar world. Is that in Florida, or is that...
That is in Florida.
Okay.
And surprisingly enough, that's in conjunction with Disney, even though the Avatar movie wasn't produced by Disney or in relation. So it's really interesting to see how those movies might come out later. But...
Yeah. Yeah, now I just completely lost my train of thought.
The LeFou character?
Oh, yes. I thought he did a very good job.
Mm-hmm.
And he sings very well. And
Mm-hmm.
it more leaning towards the musical side. And I love musicals.
Yeah. I most liked the character that got to play LeFou better than Gaston. I felt like Luke Evans playing Gaston was not Gaston. He was like the guy trying to be Gaston without looking like him.
Right. And I thought he got the character, or the actor who played the character Gaston.
Mm-hmm.
He did very well singing too. And
yeah,
like I said, I've been in choir all my life. I'm very judgy when it comes to singing and off key and pitches and everything.
Yeah.
Like, they did very well. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I definitely wrote down that they tried to make Beauty and the Beast in the same style as Les Mis, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That they got people who are decent at singing and tried to put them in. Though I will say, though, I'm not a fan of Emma Watson singing.
Really?
I was not a fan
You can tell
right from her first singing line.
You could tell she was kind of trying not to be British when she was singing.
Yes.
But
and
it was still...
And along with that, Ewan McGregor playing Lumiere, I liked him better the further along he went in the movie because he couldn't keep his accent. But like in the beginning, he tried way too hard to be French, which Ewan McGregor isn't. He is British? Question mark? But like he was like trying way too hard to be French. Like Ian McKellen, who played Cogsworth, wasn't trying to be, and I felt like that was
Cogsworth
good.
though in the original.
Yeah, he wasn't French.
He wasn't French, and that was fine.
But that's one of the things. Like any moment Lumiere and Cogsworth were together, I loved it. As much as I was not a fan of how they did a lot of the furniture and everything that was alive, I felt like any moment they were together, I was laughing or loving their conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like Sir Ian McKellen played Cogsworth so much, I actually would almost say better than the original. And then playing up Lumiere just as well. The whole Be Your Guest scene, where like Ian McGregor completely drops his accent. And it's like he's from Moulin Rouge with his singing. It is perfect. The entire scene with all the CGI I thought was beautiful. I just got lost in the moment. And it's like, this is almost, if not just as good as the original Be Your Guest. And I thought was, one of like the high points up until that point. Let's see. One of the things I wrote down is sort of like a realistic thing is that rose is not going to last as many years as it did. That rose is going to wilt within a few months.
But it was magic rose.
It's a magic rose, not supposed to think about magic.
Yeah, and you're not supposed to do realistic with magic, Chris.
It still never explains why it's snowing. I don't like that. It's like, why is it snowing?
No, yeah. The castle's way up here, you know.
Yeah.
Like, it's way over here.
Yeah, it's
snowing.
on a mountaintop.
And then you go down. But a hill. It's not even a mountain. You know, like it would roughly have the same temperature, the same weather. And
before you people say that it's in France, there are mountain ranges in France. It's down at the south by the Alps. It's Alps and the Andes. I can never remember. It starts with an A, where it borderlines with Switzerland and all of those countries. But it's way down south, and that's not where this is taken because you would definitely see the mountains and everything. But yeah, it's like, why is it snowing? I like to laugh that the coat Gaston wears in his feature song is very reminiscent of Captain Hook's cloak that he wears from Peter Pan. I was like, it's Captain Hook. I felt like it was very underwhelming to try and make Belle a bookworm when the library in the village consists of about 12 books.
Yeah, no, in the original, the library is bigger in the village than it was in the actual film. And
I felt like they were trying to like usher in religion well, that, oh, it's in a church with that giant cross in there. It's oh, it's just certain books and everything. It's like, it's not the library. It didn't have the same feel. I said was not a fan of the new songs. What is up with this traveling book thing that they introduce, like halfway through the film, where they go to where Belle's mother passed away? Like, what was up with that scene? Which is a completely new scene.
Did they use the book or the mirror?
The book, because it's one of those, he opens up the book, it's like he can take you any place you want.
Oh,
and it takes him to that windmill. Because it's never in the original.
Well, no, it's not. And that the mystery of Belle's mom is supposed to remain a mystery. I don't know.
It was never a big thing in the original.
No.
I felt like, why does it need to be a big thing here?
I kind of like that touch that they added, though.
I like that they talk more about the mother, because then it gives more reason to who Maurice is and why she cares so much about her, besides he's just her father.
Right.
And now it's like, okay.
Well, yeah, and you also have to think that's their only daughter, that's their only kid, and, God only gave them one child, and that's really important to him. Like, it's just, and especially since, and they talked about in the movie that she had represented her mom so well, that physically especially, that he doesn't want to lose the last bit that he has physically of his wife. And he used to be a painter, and that was really cool. Like, he used to be a painter.
Yep.
And then he turned into an inventor.
He was a tinkerer,
Right. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was that big of an importance.
I don't think it was that big of a difference having it in, but it was very odd that they introduced this very new thing in for sort of just only Belle's benefit.
Right.
Sorry, like I said, I wrote really, really small. Yeah, one of the things is, like, different things, like, how long does actually take to travel to Beast Castle? With, like, why does it take Gaston 5 days, he says, to, quote-unquote, look for Maurice after they tie him up and everything?
Yeah, and you don't even think about that time stuff either, though, especially in the classics.
Yeah.
It didn't take them that long.
And sort of, like, why can they not always just get to Beast Castle? Why is it, like, a hidden magical path?
Right.
It's like, okay. I thought the ending of it was interesting. Reintroducing the Enchantress, who does the spell and everything. And that it's not just...
in the classics, I don't think they do that, do they?
No, it's like her tears or something, or magical, because she truly loves him even though the last petals fall in. And I think it was a lot more touching in this remake that they have all of the servants and everything that are furniture turn into the furniture.
Well, you also have to think...
But at the end, to where it's like, oh, they've lost and everything, and you have that moment of, okay, there's no fixing. Yeah, all hope is gone, and then it comes back, and it's a lot more touching.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you. Well, overall, my opinion on that movie, very good movie. There are some things that I personally didn't enjoy because of the fact that I grew up around the age where the classics were coming out on VHS, and I enjoyed the princess movies. Okay, I have a question for you. What was your favorite classic movie? Of the main, like Snow White, Seven Dwarfs, Cinderella.
So more of the main princesses?
Yeah, more of the main princesses.
It's got to be... Are we considering Jasmine a princess in this as a classic?
Well, yeah, it's more based off Aladdin, but yeah, she is a princess. Yeah. So I would say Aladdin too.
Probably either Little Mermaid or Aladdin, with Beauty and the Beast probably being like my third choice.
Oh yeah, I know Shane's favorite is Beauty and the Beast. I have it on VHS. Mine was always Little Mermaid because I was a person who had strawberry blonde / orange hair, and I was like, oh man, she's got the same color hair as me. Like she understands me. She was the princess for me. And I liked Cinderella. I think Cinderella would be my second choice.
Sure.
And then my third would probably be Snow White. Another pop quiz. Can you name all 7 dwarves?
Probably not. I know there's Doc, there's Sneezy, Sleepy, Dopey, Mopey. Like, I could name like a good 4 of them.
And Grumpy. And then you got one more. Doc.
Sleepy?
Doc, Happy, Sleepy, Dopey, Grumpy. Yeah, see, I can only get at least 5.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the questions on Seen It. I was talking about Seen It earlier. I felt so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I should know this. Yep. Why do I not? Like, I was so, that was not a good day. But, anyway, okay, sorry.
But yeah, Beauty and the Beast, I thought it was good, but it was sort of like a copy and paste job that didn't quite transition over fully. That when you copy and pasted, there was like, sort of like a find the difference in it. That it was a little thing here and there. So yeah, IMDb gives it 7.5, 65 Metascore. So yeah, I did say a couple of things about a lot of these movies just in general.
Okay.
A lot like, Disney kills people, not animals. That for all of them, almost all of them, the opening Disney scene to where it does the pan down of the river over the castle and does the little shooting star over it. That for Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, Jungle Book, and Maleficent, all 4 of those, the castle is different, specifically to whatever their thing is. For Beauty and the Beast, it's the Beast Castle. For Cinderella, it's her castle. For Maleficent, it's that castle. For Jungle Book, it's this really weird thing, and everything's like this green tone with a bright yellow old Disney logo, and then it pans back on the river into the jungle, which I thought was really cool but interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And that every single one of them was narrated. That somebody in there was narrating them that I thought wasn't like a huge takeaway, but was an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are all the current ones out, but we do know there are more coming.
Yes.
Which, right now, my favorite is Mulan.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
To sort of give you guys a perspective, there is a photo here which was officially released by Disney at a press conference a while ago, and that is this one right here about the Walt Disney Studios official release schedule. To where right now we are in 2017, in between Pirates and Cars. There is an Untitled Fairy Tale apparently coming this summer.
Yes.
Thor Ragnarok, Coco, Star Wars Last Jedi, Black Panther, Wreck-It Ralph 2,
So
Ralph
excited.
Wrecks the Internet.
So excited.
A Wrinkle in Time. I don't know if it's a remake just because it's been like a good 40 years since the last one.
Yeah.
Avengers Infinity War Part 1, technically.
Yeah.
The Han Solo Star Wars movie coming out in spring, not around the usual winter time.
Oh, I forgot about Mary Poppins.
Incredibles 2, which I'm going to see the absolute heck out of because that is one of Pixar's best, and super excited. Ant-Man and Wasp, an untitled live-action movie apparently within the fall. Mulan, followed by a gigantic movie. Mary Poppins, I believe that says Returns down there.
Yeah.
And then Captain Marvel. The interesting thing that I know about the Mulan movie, and I'm really excited, is it is a through and through, all and only Asian cast.
Really?
Yes, and I'm super excited for that just because I want them to do it justice. That, granted, Eddie Murphy was great as Mushu. Don't get me wrong.
Gosh, yeah.
But I feel like doing it as a remake and everything, that I want them to not necessarily take off from Mushu's comedic, but I want it to look and feel genuine, and they're not just getting the actors that they think would work well or would get them the sort of accredited response. That, oh, we have George Clooney or whatever as Shang. It's like, oh, we like George Clooney, we'll watch this movie. But having it all Asian, I think, is really good to keep with it. And I had this thought last night, and the more I think about it, the more I like it. I would almost wish they do, but I think it might be unpopular with a lot of people, is I want it in Chinese. I want it as a official Disney remake foreign film. I want it in Chinese to where, sure, I'll be reading it the entire time.
That'd be really interesting.
But I feel like it would give the Mulan story its really due need for being done. Because there was a book I had to read for a class this past semester for school called The Woman Warrior, and in there's a 30-page retelling of the Mulan story, which is known, which I didn't know until I looked it up. The Mulan story is not a set-in-stone story or legend. It is based off of, it was at one point a story, an official story, but has over time been lost of the official retelling of it. So even Disney's retelling of it isn't the official Mulan story. This one I read wasn't the official. And it's very loose that you can do a lot of things with, but there are certain things like Mulan's a female, she goes off to the war and everything, saves the emperor and all that. Sure. There's a lot of key bits, but there's a lot in the middle that you don't really see. That's why Disney can do like Mushu. In the book I read, there's things to where she trained to be a warrior with these people high up in the mountains that you would think isn't possible. How she can jump over buildings and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Giving this sort of like martial arts, like magical element to it.
Sure.
To where when they do this remake, it would be interesting to see if they strictly stick to what they did before, or if they try and do something else. To where, yeah, I want them to do it really good justice, because I feel like this is one of Disney's like officially known like foreign like stories that we know it's an Asian story and everything, and that I want them to stay with that and not try and do anything else. Like, we know Beauty and the Beast is in France. It's like, okay, but if somebody didn't know that, they could easily use all English actors, like most of the cast is actually.
Right, yeah.
To where, yeah, I want them to do Mulan well enough that it sort of, yeah, I don't know. I want it to be really, really good, because I have not seen any of these live-action remakes yet in theaters. It's always been on DVD or Netflix.
And it's a whole different atmosphere when you go into the movie theater.
Yeah, I want it to be. It will be probably the first live-action remake that I will actually go out and see.
Yeah.
Because I like the Mulan story so much, especially the movie, to where I want to go see it anyways. But I want it to really be worth it that I'm seeing a remake in theaters.
Yeah. No, definitely. Another movie that I'm really excited for, especially since it's going to be a majority of CGI like the Jungle Book was, The Lion King.
Yes. It was interesting because a live-action remake was still doing the CGI. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about that. But I think it's going to be good, because I know Donald Glover, I can never remember which one, because there's a Donald and there's a Danny, and one is really old and was in the Lethal Weapon movies, and the other one isn't. He's more well known for things like, I think, Hamilton or something.
The original voice actor for Mufasa is coming back into this movie.
They're getting James Earl Jones.
They're having him voice Mufasa again in the new movie. Is what I heard. Don't quote me. That's what I heard. But that's really cool.
Yes.
And I'm almost 100% positive that they're gonna have the "I Can't Wait to Be King" song in there because that was the number one from that whole soundtrack.
Lion King is definitely going to be one. They can't change any of the existing music.
Right.
And I don't know if they'll want to add any new.
They might. You never know. I'm kind of leaning more towards they might.
And I think they could pull it off with Lion King.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because it's a very loose thing. But they have to keep things like "I Want to Be King," Hakuna Matata. Maybe not the love song in there. Can You Feel Love? Yeah. Maybe leave that one out.
Maybe.
Yeah, let's downplay that a little bit because.
There was a little girl that I used to work at a daycare, and there was a little girl. Her name was Paige, and whenever she'd come in, "Can we play Hakuna Matata? Can we please play Hakuna Matata?" And so, my coworker, she had the Lion King 1 and 2 songs on a CD, and so she'd play it. And Paige would just sit next to the chair, next to the stereo. She'd just sit there and listen, and she'd mouth the words. She knows all the words, and she's 2. She's so cute. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I think it will be really good. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it. I think if they do it a lot like Jungle Book in CGI, but have it as the lions and the Badlands and everything, I think they could do well. I think maybe my one suspicion might be the voice actors they get to play people, but I'm not overly worried either. I'm just hoping that, for the music, that as much as I love Elton John and how he did the entire soundtrack, I wouldn't mind maybe hearing somebody else in his shoes.
Another movie that I'm kind of looking forward to see how they do it is Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
The only reason is because live action would be more realistic, more in this timeline. Mermaids are not real.
Yeah.
Sorry, but they're not. So I'm just kind of interested in how they're gonna like twist things and play that around a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, like, you think mermaids from Peter Pan, mermaids were not nice in Peter Pan.
Yep.
And they're not nice in the Pirates of the Caribbean either. No. But, yeah. And then another one, I went through, I don't know what website I was on.
But I do think if they do the mermaids in the Little Mermaid, maybe like how they did in Pirates, it wouldn't be too bad as long as they brighten them up a little.
Yeah, because they're mermaids. They're supposed to be nice, you know.
Yep.
I don't know what website I was on, but it gave me a whole like slideshow what movies that were coming out. I don't know exactly when. They didn't give me a timeline. But they're doing a twist, kind of like what they did with Maleficent. They're doing a movie on Cruella de Vil from 101
Yes,
Dalmatians.
I saw that they were doing that, and I'm really wondering how they're going to pull that off, because technically there have been 2 live-action 101 Dalmatians. I think 100 Dalmatians, it's either 100 and 101 or 101 and 102.
101, 102.
Yep, because Glenn Close plays Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, but...
And they weren't
go ahead.
bad, but they weren't really good either.
No, but I'm excited to see, like, with the turn on Maleficent, for example, we never got a backstory on Maleficent. I'm really interested to see what they're going to do inspiration-wise and creative-wise, how they're going to do Corella's backstory.
Yeah.
And what made her her.
Yeah.
You know? I'm just kind of interested to see that.
I would almost like if they do that, do a lot like what they did with Sleeping Beauty, and not focus so much on Sleeping Beauty, and in this one, focus on the 101 Dalmatians, or at least that story of 101 Dalmatians. Like, maybe reference it, but not make it the same priorities. Get a lot more of the backstory.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we talked a little bit about Aladdin, that you like Aladdin.
Which is being directed by Guy Ritchie. For those of you who do not know who he is the director behind the King Arthur movie that just came out. Sherlock Holmes 1 and Sherlock 2 with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. He is also behind a couple smaller ones like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Texas, hello and welcome. I know you're a regular to the stream. He's also done Rock and Roller. Really good, but rated R. Very interesting. He's definitely a guy who has a lot of ambitions, but doesn't always get recognized for what he does. He's very underplayed, but I really enjoy him. So I'm looking forward to that, but of course with Aladdin,
Oh, yeah.
there's going to be the presumption of who are they going to get to play Genie.
Oh,
like
yeah!
as much as I would love to have Robin Williams alive and just replay his role, I think if he was, nobody would bat an eye that saying please, because he was so good at Aladdin, and the fact that there's a lot of things to, especially for Aladdin, all of his stuff is ad-lib. That all of it he came up with on the spot, and that's what makes Genie great. That I feel like you could take his same dialogue from the animated one and bring it in, but you just have to have somebody who can make it believable and bring it across to us well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, golly, who would be? I don't know, how would I want to say this question? I know that obviously it's impossible for us to necessarily bring back Robin Williams to do the Genie again.
Yeah.
Which is very saddening because he was very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very, very good actor. Especially with his voices and everything. Very good voice actor. Who would you think, out of your personal opinion, would be second runner-up to be or to voice Genie?
I don't know. I almost want them to find somebody we don't know about, or somebody who is not A-list, because I don't want them to make the immediate idea of take some A-list, quote-unquote, in my opinion, comedians, and put him in there because they're quote-unquote funny. Like, do not give me a Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly. As much as John C. Reilly is great in Wreck-It Ralph, please do not give me one of them. Do not give me a Steve Carell. Do not give me one of these people who are quote-unquote funny for whatever reason. Give me something who really isn't known.
Give us someone who's going to honor the name of Robin Williams.
Yeah. And I think maybe that's the problem. Like, give us somebody like Billy Crystal. Somebody who's voiced Mike Wazowski. Like, the guy who did the eulogy for him at the Oscars after he passed away. Give us somebody who is invested in what they're doing and not just doing it for the heck of it. Like what I feel like Robin Williams or somebody like that would do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, yeah, who do you get who's like Genie? And in this remake, do you play off of his hilarity, or do you make him maybe a bit more serious and toned down and everything and focus more on Aladdin them? It's really interesting, and I think it's a really big project to try and take on.
Mm-hmm.
To try and reimagine it.
Sure.
So, yeah.
They are making a Maleficent 2.
I have heard that. Don't know why, but
I think
because what happens after Sleeping Beauty?
Right. I think that's probably the question that I'm going to answer.
I feel like this is going to be one of those where it's not a remake because they have to come up with something new.
They're making another Peter Pan too. Do you realize how many Peter Pans there are out there though? Like, guys.
I mean, I have not seen Pan, the one with Hugh Jackman as like Neverland Black.
Can we just honor Hugh Jackman and his whole entire character of Wolverine just for a second? Just for a second.
I've not seen Logan yet, and I hate myself for it.
I have it on DVD. I can let you borrow it.
My brother has it, but but the interesting thing is, depending on what edition you get, you can also watch Logan. It's called Logan Noir, and it's the entire movie of Logan in black and white.
Really?
It sounds super interesting, but I've not seen it regularly to be able to judge, but I really want to see it. But yeah, with Peter Pan, like, he's had so many reiterations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've had Pan, which is Peter Pan before he's Pan. You've had Hook, Robin Williams again, to where it's Peter Pan as an adult many years later. There's the Peter Pan remake, which I don't think anybody recognizes.
One of the Peter Pan remakes, Robin Williams, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Hook.
Yeah, VHS, yeah. I have that. I had
one. Yeah, and then you had Peter Pan, then Peter Pan Return to Neverland, where it's Wendy's daughter. She doesn't believe any of it.
No. Mm-hmm.
You could probably... Do I have a computer deck? So I just have a computer. That's what I'm recording off of. But yeah. I know my friend has 100 subscribers. I don't yet.
I don't have that many subscribers. I have 3, 2, maybe.
4.
I have 4. Okay.
Because I just checked it again because I needed to edit the URL.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, with
4.
Peter Pan, it'd be interesting, especially where I'm at.
Yes, we have been talking for 2 hours.
Yes. Where I'm at for Once Upon a Time and how they portray Peter Pan. I won't spoil anything, but dang, that's a very different way to portray Peter Pan. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a time I hated Peter Pan until I started watching season 3 of Once Upon a Time.
Oh, okay.
It's very interesting.
I started watching Once Upon a Time, but then I stopped because I think I got really busy. I think I started it when I was in high school.
Sure.
So, I mean, it was when I was on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
is.
It's of course it still is. It's a really good show, but yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Another couple. Oliver Twist is actually going to be a thing.
Never seen it.
Neither have I. I was in the musical in high school.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably what I'll probably give a good pass to, just because it doesn't interest me.
And like when you talked about the Cinderella, it must not have been that important to me because I had no idea it was a thing.
I feel like Oliver Twist is one of these that it's always getting redone. I don't know if it still is, but it was like a Broadway thing. There was one called Twist. I think there was one called O, which was about Oliver Twist. I feel like it's one of these that it's a common enough thing that I don't know if people will really give it a nod of, oh, Disney's doing Oliver Twist. Well, this should be interesting. I think a lot of people will be like, oh, it's the latest Oliver Twist because we haven't had one in like a decade or two.
Yeah, sure. Tink, and we talked about Peter Pan and then Pinocchio.
Yep.
Is coming out. And like I said, I don't know what website I was looking at, but like I said, it just gave me a slideshow of future plans for future movies, so I don't know if they're all set in stone or not, but I'm assuming they're just plans. So
it is interesting, though, because of that photo that Disney released is of bringing back Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
And what they're going to do.
And are they going to do Julie Andrews again?
I don't know if
I believe it is Julie Andrews who plays the regular.
This is definitely one we'll need to look up.
I'm almost positive it's Julie Andrews.
Yeah.
Julie Andrews.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive it's. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, it is. Yep. It'd be interesting. I would love her to come back for it, just because she is. But yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with it. I mean, sure, people might make the joke of, oh, it's going to be Handu.
Oh my gosh, Chris! Oh yeah, that was one of the T-shirts I was looking at. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Oh, best quote of the whole movie.
It was. I loved it.
So, yeah, it should be interesting to see what they do with that. But one of the things that I thought of when I was going through this is, what movie, outside of the ones that they say might come, what Disney movie of either a Disney classic or basically almost any Disney movie, period, do you want to see them do a live action remake of?
Oh, well, I mean, I would say Little Mermaid, but I know they're already doing it, so live action Disney. I guess I go straight back to the classics, and I guess they're already doing all the classics. The one I guess I'm looking more forward to most is The Little Mermaid, so I'm just going to say Little Mermaid. I can't think of any other, like, really big Disney... What? Princess and the Frog, maybe?
It's fairly recent, so I don't know if they would do it right away. They might wait until
do it later, right.
Yeah, but I think that's definitely one they would do.
Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, the one I haven't heard anybody talk about maybe doing is Snow White.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would almost take a live-action remake of just a Seven Dwarfs movie.
Yeah, I would too.
I think that would be interesting.
What about, like, Brother Bear?
Ooh.
My boyfriend really loves Brother Bear. Yeah. And it was one of those movies where it was really good, but it was never a movie for me to go and rewatch a bunch. You know?
Say Tarzan.
Did you know the director of Frozen actually confirmed that Tarzan is Elsa and Anna's brother?
The director did. Okay, because I know there's the whole.
I'm pretty sure it was the
There's
director.
the whole film theory. Matt Pat on YouTube, who I'm a great fan of, did a theory about that. Also, the theory, not quite as firm, but that Anna and either Anna and Rapunzel or Elsa and Rapunzel are sisters. It's one of those. I can't remember it, but if you look at certain things, it does make a bit of sense. But yeah, I would almost want to say Tarzan, but I know it's not Disney affiliated, but there was last year a Legend of Tarzan movie made with Alex Skarsgård, the gal who plays Margot Robbie, Samuel Jackson, Christoph Waltz, and Jimon Hasu. And they were all in that, and I suppose that's good, but it wasn't like the Tarzan story. It's sort of like a so many years later type deal.
Yeah.
So it might be interesting to see them do it. I think some people would expect it and wouldn't take as close a look to it just because I think it's probably one of those that people would expect and people, they know how to do animated gorillas and stuff, and it's just not all that. I don't want to say it's not gripping, but I just don't think they can do quite as much with it. So some of the ones I wrote down is the idea came to me when I was looking through stuff. I think it would be interesting, but I don't know. I think they would have to be careful doing it. Was Hercules?
I was just gonna say, I think I'd like to see a live action version of Hercules.
Yeah.
But keep the songs in the movie.
Yeah.
Because the songs, I think, are what make it.
Because I feel like,
especially in the very beginning.
And I feel like that's one of the things is if they do, I feel like their initial thing is to get rid of them. Because I think that's sort of what we see in some of these remakes is they get rid of the songs, and they don't have to.
Right.
So that would be interesting just to see how they would portray like the different gods and like Hades and stuff.
Do you think that they could ever replace or do a live action of The Nightmare Before Christmas? That's a Tim Burton thing. That's Tim Burton's thing, though. You know? I
feel like it would be super hard to do.
Yeah, especially with the characters that are in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be hard to do only because they would almost have to CGI it, and The Nightmare Before Christmas is like practically CGI, to where it's not computer generated, but it's sort of like puppet.
Yeah.
Puppet or like stop animation.
Speaking of claymation and everything and stop animation, the guy who voiced Wallace and Gromit passed away. Did you know that?
Yes. I did notice that. I'm super sad.
Yeah. My mom told me that. I forget, because I was working at the radio station and she was reading through some news stories that I could read on my live, show.
Sure.
And she said that, and I was like, "Oh, for reals?" Yeah, it took me. I was like, "Oh."
I know.
Kind of a bummer.
Another one I had, sort of recent to where it's not really considered a classic, but I also mentioned it earlier, is I would love to see Atlantis done in live action.
Oh, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Especially with how Pirates did things underwater in this latest movie of theirs. I feel like they have that nailed down pretty well. And I feel like it is a great story to tell, and they could have a lot of fun doing the ships and the city and everything in there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
One I had, which is... It's interesting when I thought about it. It's one of my favorite Disney movies. And I thought it'd be interesting to see how they would do it. And the story is The Great Mouse Detectives.
Okay, I might have seen that movie.
It's basically Sherlock Holmes, but with mice.
Okay, what movie am I thinking of? Is it The Great Rescue? Is that the movie I'm thinking of? Where there's a little girl and they're looking for a treasure.
Oh, The Rescuers!
Yeah, that one.
Yes.
I remember watching that one, but it was, like I said, a long time ago. Very vaguely remember it.
Yep.
That'd be something really cool to see.
Yeah.
Live action, too, The Rescuers. That'd be really cool.
So. Yeah, otherwise, one of the things I wrote down and will actually be the topic of the next podcast, which I'll get to in a moment, is one of the things I immediately thought when I was about 10 minutes into the Jungle Book, is looking at all the way they did animals, especially the cats, and the way they did the fur and everything. It immediately popped into my head, like, I want this CGI to be done to the Warriors series by Aaron Hunter, which is all about cats living in this small little forest outside of this, like, rural town. And it's basically the idea of there are 4 clans of cats that coexist, and they each have their own territories, they each hunt on their own lands and everything, and they coexist together. They have meetings at certain places, and whatever. But every once in a while, one side will get more aggressive than the other. There's fighting that ensues. It's a really great series that is now, like, over 32 books long, because each segment of the series is about 6 books. It's the Warriors, The New Prophecy, Power of 3, Something of 1, Dawn of the Clans, something, and then another one, I think, now. It's super, super good. Yeah, it's just all about cats from their perspective. It'd be really interesting to see it done in that CGI. So, yeah. So, that's pretty much, the main topic for today's podcast. So, yeah, if anybody else is watching live, might be 1 or 2 people possibly watching. If you have any questions you would like to ask Dana or I here while we sort of close up the last couple minutes of the podcast, we can. Otherwise, I'll pose the topic for next time in a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm sure that this will happen again.
Yep.
So, and if you guys end up watching this and it's not live, go ahead and leave a comment for Chris.
Yep.
And he has my phone number, so you can text me, and we'll definitely, consider your questions and topics and concerns, and we can definitely just talk about those.
Yep. Always feel free to post in the live chat if you're watching this live here on YouTube. Otherwise, always feel free to leave a comment down below. The live streams always come up within 24 hours of them being recorded, sometimes even just within a couple hours afterwards. I know the Minecraft one takes a bit longer to load just because of how long I go for them. But yeah, this one will probably be ready to view again later tonight. So leave comments down below for myself, for Dana. Otherwise, I'm always on Facebook as well. You can try and hit me up on Twitter.
I have a Facebook page too. I don't think I have it activated. Do I have it activated?
I don't know.
Like, I have an actual page for my YouTube channel. You've seen that, right? I might have posted one thing.
Yep. Otherwise, just look up our names, or go check out her channel, which is always in the description below, or as said before, it's not there anymore. Never mind.
It's all good.
Yep. Yeah. Otherwise, feel free to check out our other friends, Zach Bonekiller Boneshans, who might have some more stuff coming out soon with myself in there, as well as Brooke, who has some Sims 4 gameplay going on, which is all Disney related.
It's so fun
It's really good.
It is.
And she has some even more gameplay coming soon, she's told me. And
I would hope to.
That sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, I would hope to have some gameplay on my stuff too. Like, there was a video that Brooke, my boyfriend, and I did a while ago. We did the Bean Boozled challenge. No, that was awful. Don't do it. It was awful, okay? Like, my boyfriend, I love him very much, but his ego took over, and he had a dog food jelly bean, and he did not want to spit it out. He swallowed it. He got sick that night.
See, there's always a trick with those.
You break it in half and you smell it.
Yeah, you break it in half and you smell it, or you don't show them that you're actually chewing. You put it in, you swallow, and you just fake chew. That way you never have to taste it. Because you never taste the inside. There's that small layer of the candy outside.
You're
I've never done that, but I just came up with it, so.
Oh, man.
None of my secret's out. Crap.
Good job. Yeah, no, I have that video edited, and I was in the middle of uploading it, but my computer went to sleep mid-upload, and it stopped. And it was, like, almost done, too. So I have the video saved. I just have to have the time to make sure my computer stays awake enough to actually upload it.
Sure.
But, yeah, so I'll have that coming up shortly on my channel. And then with the thing that you're using for your broadcasts and live streams and stuff, I do want to play with it. I downloaded it on my laptop. And at work and stuff, I have Adobe Audition. And so it's really fun for me to play with that. I know how to edit commercials and everything at the radio station.
Sure.
But, yeah, so I'm going to get new software up and running on my laptop so then I can maybe start doing my own Sims thing. I also want to go on Steam and find some other not expensive games that I could, start a series on. So, yeah, just, you got to be patient with me because Chris and I, we're young adults. We have our own jobs. We have things to pay for. I live on my own. So, like, I have, my house is a mess, by the way. But, yeah, just please stay with us.
Yeah.
Because that's all that is. It's just patience. And I know that, especially with Chris's stuff, the Lego Batman series and everything, I'm sure a lot of people are pushing you to get that done and everything. It's just...
Oh, the Lego Batman 3?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I haven't mentioned it in a while, but that had to unfortunately end because when I brought my computer to Best Buy to try and get rid of some virus malware stuff, they accidentally deleted that entire file folder. So I would have to start back from
all
ground.
Over? Oh no.
And I was at 99%.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Shoot.
I just had a couple of things left to get in that game. So unfortunately that's on permanent hiatus. Although there is all the DLC for it, which I still have not played through. Might get that to you guys this summer. Maybe stream it if I find time. But otherwise right now, yeah. Lego Star Wars is for sure coming out. I'm prioritizing that a bit more because I'm liking playing that better than Marvel Avengers. So there's some more coming to you guys probably this weekend of the 10th of June. So that should be coming hopefully. Lego Marvel's Avengers, not quite sure. Only because, yeah, I'm enjoying Star Wars a bit more, so I might prioritize that. Otherwise, other gameplay, probably nothing new until school starts back up and I'll have more time. But
yes.
Yeah, same with streams. So, yeah, just stay tuned to the channel. Otherwise, my Facebook is where I post a lot of my stuff. Otherwise, check out the Lego MacGyver blog, especially since probably sometime tomorrow, part 6 of my sci-fi story series will be uploaded. So that's been in the works. I just have to finish it up and just stop running because it's about 5 pages long now, and they're usually about 2 pages in a paragraph. So bear with me there, but they might get a bit longer just because I'm really enjoying it, and yeah, I'm hearing other people find it interesting. So yes, so yeah, I think that will end the podcast here. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Yes, that was so much fun.
A topic I hope to come to at some point. I just didn't know when. So.
No, yeah, sure, definitely.
Yep.
Definitely. So yeah.
Yeah, so for the question next time, which you guys are always free to voice in the live chat or in the comments below or on social media, what topics you guys would like me to cover, because a lot of times it's mainly movies, but other times we like to go out there and talk about some other things. So next time, actually, much like a couple months ago where we were pitching the next Lego video game, this next time we're going to be pitching the next book to movie adaptation, either standalone novels or book series, because it came to my attention that after the beginning of next year, we really do not have any big hitters coming out because 50 Shades will finish, as well as the Maze Runner series. So we're going to be seeing what we can't come up with, and I have a couple ideas I wouldn't mind. So yeah, be interesting to hear from you guys. But anyways, thank you guys also very much for watching the Chitty-Chat cast. Podcast dedicated to talk about random stuff because why not? I have been your host, Chris Ringerberg, otherwise known as Lego MacGyver. To all you master builders and chitty chatters out there, stay bricky, keep building, and I'll see you guys all next time.